What's going on, everybody? We're here. We're live. Brand new Poker Live podcast. My name's Joey Ingram, a.k.a. Chicago Joey. Remember, guys, podcasts aren't iTunes. I'm officially updating iTunes. If I don't update my iTunes for more than 1 week, you have permission to do something to me at World Series of Poker, which I'll let you know later. And merchandise, the original designs that we designed a long time ago are only up on sale for a couple more days, and then I will never sell them again, maybe in 3 years, but probably never. And they will be collector items one day when we have out a lot of merchandise. And that's all I got. Joining me on the podcast today is a young man. I think this man is a legend of the poker world, guys. This is a man who been playing high-stakes cash games for a long time, battling up and down, round and around. I think he does like the great game of Pot Omaha too, and you guys know how that excites me. But this man founded the European Poker Tour, turned it into one of the best, debatably, some might say the best poker tour in the entire world. Teamed up with Pokerstars. They did that together, I think, until 2012, and then he took a step back from Pokerstars, working with them, and now he's back running Party Poker Live as the president. And I think you kind of seen in this past year and a half, I think it's like been about a year and a half now, or a year and a couple months, kind of what they've been turning into. They've been turning into one of the, debatably, one of the best poker tournament tours in the entire world right now. We're going to talk more about that. And talk about all kind of stuff of the poker world. We got John Duthie. I think I said John Duthie. John Duthie. That's how you say the last name, right?
Yeah, Duthie.
John Duthie. John Duthie. Welcome to the podcast, John.
That's a great introduction.
I feel like I hit that right. That's like that was what you'd say, right?
Yeah, no, it's very weird when you hear yourself being spoken about or sort of hyped up a bit, and you just kind of go, really me, it's like I'm not sure I really recognize myself sometimes from that introduction, but I suppose it's right, yeah.
No, I feel the same way when someone introduces me or something. By the way, guys, this podcast is sponsored by Jack Daniels. John said he's going to be smoking during it and was actually smoking, so I grabbed my whiskey. I know it's 11 a.m., guys, but you know what? We're out of Linus Vegas, so we're gonna have a drink in his honor too here. I feel that same way. Whenever people introduce me, I'm always like, I'm like kind of, I don't know what that stems from, self-confidence, or if that's like, I don't know where that comes from, but yeah, I feel the same way when people do that to me too.
I like the idea of drinking bourbon though.
Yeah, you might as well. Where John? Where are you at right now? You're not in Montreal for the Party Poker Live event, or where are you at right now?
No, I'm on my way there on the day. Well, hold on, let me see. Where are we today? Tuesday, Thursday morning. So I'll be there Thursday afternoon for the main event. So I'll be there for 7 days.
So with Party Poker Live, what's your role right now? So you took the president. I think it was February 2017. And what do you do exactly for Party Poker with the live events right now?
Well, it's interesting. They approached me in January. Really, the tour hadn't really started, and because the EPT had just been renamed by Amaya to whatever it was. I think it was called the Pokerstars Championship or something. It no longer existed, and they thought, actually, John's going to be really pissed off about that. Why don't we contact him and see if he wants to do this gig? And they were right. They phoned me up and they offered. They just suggested it. Tom Waters, the MD of Party, and I like Tom. He's a really nice guy, and I also liked a lot of the people he worked with. So I kind of went, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And we did it, and so far it's working out. It's working out well. It's just like the early days of the EPT as it was. And it's just great fun.
Yeah, it seems like you guys are trying to emulate the model of the European Poker Tour with adding in these different worldwide stops and kind of making the locations, events, making them these festivals, making them an actual experience for the players when they come out there.
Look, when I started the EPT, it was really, I was encouraged to do it by very much by players. Players at the Vic. I played at the Vic. I played in a lot of tournaments around Europe, and they all knew that I had a TV background. That I directed TV drama, and I can't remember who it was. Somebody suggested, look, why don't you do a European poker tour? And so once a few players said, "Yeah, come on, that'd be a great idea. We'll all come." I decided to do it, and so it took me about sort of 6 or 7 months to get it all set up, and get the various sponsors on board. And then Barcelona, the first event was in, God bloody hell, it's such a long time ago now, 2004, in Barcelona, September. And it started off fairly. That was like a €1,000 buy-in, and it was just a really fun event. It was just a lot of players, most of whom I knew, and it was just excellent. Let me just turn this Skype off because it's annoying me. There's a lot of people pinging me on Skype.
It happens. You're a popular man, John. It happens. They're hitting you up.
About that. Let me just put on Do Not Disturb. Okay.
Kristen said I might have to explain what the Vic is. The Vic is a casino.
Oh yeah, it's a card room in London. It used to be probably the best card room in the UK back then. But I think Dusk Till Dawn has pretty far bypassed it by now.
So you were kind of talking about the beginnings of EPT and why you started that, and your TV background and players kind of encouraging you to start that up, and it took you 6 or 7 months before you kind of got it going.
Yeah, it's and it took a while, and then it started to slowly grow, and then it started to really quickly grow as well. Because we got initially with the EPT, I wanted to have a different sponsor for every single event. I didn't like the idea of one brand dominating the whole thing, and then I think I had sort of meetings with so many online card rooms at the time, and all of them were interested in Ladbrokes, Prima, PartyPoker, Ultimate Bet, all these sort of names that were around at the time. Full Tilt wasn't around, so and then towards the end of that process, I was introduced to Isai, Scheinberg, and one way or another, and he suggested, and I knew by then, Stars were already, they were an incredible site back then. They were just remarkable, and they were focusing mainly on tournaments. So I thought, actually, look, this is a no-brainer. They wanted to do the whole thing themselves. They didn't, and whilst I wasn't mad about it because I was going to be letting a lot of the people down that I'd already negotiated a lot with, it just made common sense because they were prepared to invest a lot of money into it, and they were prepared to support it a great deal right from the early stages. So eventually they became the overall sponsor of the EPT, and look, they added a lot to it for sure. There's no doubt about that.
So you left them in what, 2012? Is that correct?
I don't know. I can't remember. What happened was they took control of the company probably around 2012. I stayed on as what they call a non-executive, chairman of the company, which meant you don't really do anything. You get paid a lot of money, but they make all the decisions. So I stayed on for a couple of years as non-executive chairman and a team, and sort of they gave me a team pro contract as well, which was quite tasty. And I sort of backed off a bit. I think they were, if they made decisions that I didn't agree with, I might say something. But the trouble is, by then they pretty much had control of it, so they could do with it as what they wanted.
Does anyone in the chat, do you guys hear that there's like little alien noises? Anybody hear that out there? We might need to go back and change to the other microphone here, because the little alien person, maybe no one else hears it. Maybe it's actually just me. So if the chat can let me know. I see a lot of people in the chat already. What's up, chat? I see my girl Kristen out there. What's up, Kristen? What's happening? Mamacita, Jeff Rutten. Nice guest, Joe. Is he still sleeping? John, are you still sleeping, or did you just
Who, me?
They want to know, are you still sleeping? I don't know. Maybe the bedhead. They like the Doug Polk you mentioned you got.
Oh no, yeah, no. I should. It's just, look, I'm at home. What do you want me to do? Put a suit on? It's ridiculous. I'm made. This is my home look. This is what I look like when I'm chilling out.
Well, you got to understand, these guys in the chat, John, when they're at home, they're wearing suits. They got their hair done. They're the most prim and proper people of all time.
Around naked in their asses, most of them.
So I guess that happens with
sure.
Party Poker. So you mentioned they took over. You became one of the team pros, and then when did you stop working with the company with Pokerstars?
Probably. Well, I went back there for a while about 3 years ago as a sort of marketing consultant, and then I left. When Amaya took over, actually, I left then. So whenever, that's about what, 3 years ago.
2014, I think, I believe.
Really? Was it that long ago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
14.
Nearly 4 years ago. So that's a long time now. So I went back to, when I left there, I went back to, I kind of took a bit of time off, and then I thought I went back to doing some directing for a while. Did a job, actually, what was that? 2016. I did a thing for Netflix and ITV called Paranoid, which was the first directing job I'd done for about 14 years. So that was quite nerve-wracking. It wasn't very good. I did like episodes 7 and 8 of it. A friend of mine who was producing it, the whole thing was sort of falling apart, and he just asked me to come on board to just, I don't know, save him. I think he was just fed up with all the, the hassle that was going on. But it was good fun. It was good fun to start directing again. I enjoyed that.
So what made you want to get back into the poker ring, into the poker world, and start working with Party Poker?
I think the guys came to, the guys came, they phoned me up originally, I think, from the Caribbean, the CPP, the Caribbean Poker Party that Party Poker do. They'd obviously all been out drinking, the guys generally, and somebody had this sort of idea to ring me up, and so they rang me up, and they spoke about it briefly, and I went, no, let me think about it. I'm not too, I wasn't too sure whether I really wanted to start, do that whole thing all over again. And then we had a meeting when they got back about a week later in London, and I just liked, the fact, what I really liked was that they were just so laid back. There was none of this sort of stiff suit corporate crap that was going on. I knew that we'd have a good time doing it. So I said, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And then we just jumped, jumped straight in. They kind of, I think they didn't expect me to be involved as much as I was. It was sort of like I was going to be like more of a figurehead than actually getting involved and criticizing things. But I think once you put your name to something, if you don't like it, you should just say, you say that you don't like something, or if a dealer's grumpy or miserable and obviously doesn't like, they don't. Yeah, it's all about customer experience. It's customer service and customer experience, and it's really important that there's somebody there going around, just sticking the nose in where it's not wanted, and making sure that, that it's fun. That it's still entertaining. You know what I mean? I mean, sometimes that was a problem with EPT. It just got boring. It became too corporate. It lost any sense of enjoyment at all. It was just, and it's like, we are running this event for you. You're really lucky to actually come to this event. This is without us, this event wouldn't exist. And I got so fed up with that arrogance. It was a real arrogance that drove me to actually get on board and say, come on, it's not about this. It's about, if you put 10, maybe because I'm a player and very, none of them are players, actually, none of the executives are players at Amaya. And so I just thought, actually, no, we can do this better. We can do this a lot better than they're doing it. We can actually take it back a bit, and we can make it more fun. And as a player, when you pay whatever it is, whether it's $50 or $10,000 to enter a tournament, that's your fucking tournament, as far as I'm concerned. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's your tournament, okay? And you actually you're actually asking us effectively to run it for you, and for that you pay us, for the privilege of running that tournament for you. So I want that to always be the case with certainly Party Poker tournaments, is that we run it on behalf of the players. So anything anybody wants changing, we will change. We'll try to get them. We're going to do this sort of poll thing where we start anybody who's played in the events are going to be able to actually poll on decision making, like rebuys, for instance, whether how many rebuys we should have. You know, after Russia, we'll probably, you know, we'll do a poll of every player that's ever played in the millions and see what the best sort of, what the optimum structure is that every player wants, you know. And you know, that's what, you know, and then we'll change it.
Let me see if there's echo. No.
No.
Yeah, there's a little echo. I'm gonna have to, whoa. Can you just close out of that hangout and then come back into it, John?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
We're gonna try to get rid of this little the buzzing noise out there, guys. And but yeah, John just touched on a lot of good things that I really want to follow up on, including the arrogance of Pokerstars, aka Amaya Stars, being extremely apparent in some of the decisions that they've made. One being to change the name of the European Poker Tour to something else, and change the name of PCA to something else, and to put out the type of press releases they put out that pretend that the players are some fucking idiots, basically. So we'll kind of get on that. We got to give a shout out, little early shout outs here, man. Who we got? I see my boy. I see my boy. I actually don't see my boys in the chat right now. I see Jao Cabral talking about a bunch of shit in there. What's up, Jao? Calm down, buddy. Maddie Dodd in there. What's up, Maddie? Jonathan Monroe. What up, Jonathan? What's up? I have a lot of DGen friends who all agree Party Poker Casino with the live dealers is one of the best live streaming interactive casinos out there. They have not played on the Pornhub casino. I'm going to be honest with you. I played on there a little bit. They had poker on there. I was one of the top players on that site for the poker games, and there was some like whatever it was, what it is, man, a lot of line. So, all right, John's back. Let's hear this now. Let's test this out and see. Oh, wait. Oh,
okay, is that any better?
Bam. Okay, we got you. Let's we'll see if that buzz comes back.
Okay, hold on a second. I just want to let the dog out.
Okay. What else we got there? Larry Gross on the chat. What up, Larry? Poppy, what's happening? Macy J. Ragakok. I have no idea how to say that name, man. That's a crazy Polish name. Okay, so John, I want to go back to some things that you said. So you mentioned the arrogance of Amaya. You mentioned they have an arrogance, and I think that is very apparent in some of the decisions that they've made. Some of the things that come to mind are when they renamed the Pokerstars Caribbean Adventure. When it seems like they just came in and they're like, all right, let's see what was successful and let's fucking get rid of it. All right, so VPPs, FPPs, done. All right, PCA, done. EPT, let's get rid of that too. It seems like they came in, they're like, let's put our own branding. Let's give them the chest, open a chest, and let's give them our own fucking names that no one's really asking for. Let's get rid of these sorts of things that the players have come to enjoy over time and over the years, and what's made PokerStars $1 billion company. And let's assume that we know more about everything and we're the smartest people in the room, so we're going to come in here and do our own thing. And I'm not saying these guys aren't smart. These guys aren't geniuses. They're making a lot of money when it comes to business. But I think when it comes to giving poker players, I mean, you know, what they want, they're going to say they want these spinning. They're going to say they want these fast sort of structure games and the crack cocaine games, I call them, and these ADD games. That's what they want, and that's what they're giving to them. But I think from my standpoint, I don't think that's what players want. And I think it is cool to see kind of Party Poker step up and say, hey, let's provide the players an actual experience that they're going to enjoy. And let's not disrespect the players when they come to these events. Let's not treat these players a certain type of way. Let's actually treat these players like they matter a little bit. And it seems like that's something that you touched on. I saw an interview you talked about where you thought EPT was disrespecting the players. And I mean, it's pretty that's what PokerStars is doing. They are disrespecting the players too. I think it's a kind of a company-wide thing you see with those guys over there. So I guess kind of talk about that when you mention that. What do you mean by what you see them disrespecting players?
Yeah, the thing is, I'm not sure I said they disrespected players, but I think that what I said was really they weren't really taking into consideration the player. I think there were towards the end of my tenure with the EPT and Stars, I started to sense something within the company which was a disdain for poker players. It was really weird. Mm-hmm. It was like people were jealous of the freedom that players had and the money that they were earning. It was really, and I can kind of understand that, because you can get that in other sectors of society that would say, my God, these guys, you know, look at they've got the freedom to fly all over the world. You know, some of them fly in private jets. They're going first class. They wear all this bling. They've got flash cars and all they do. So you can kind of understand it, but I can understand it from other sectors of, you know, other people. But from a company which has actually been created from those very same players, it was just absurd. you know, it was like disrespecting their customers. So, and that was coming through, to me, it was coming through from some of the tournament staff that were operating at the events. I heard some tournament staff talking to players in I would have just sacked some of the guys that were talking to players the way they were talking had I still been in charge. And it's really, I just find it really, I found it really infuriating at the time that they'd managed to really destroy the EPT. You know, the EPT was just no longer what it was, and it was mainly marketing idiots, you know, who knew absolutely nothing about the game, but they were just, it was all about branding, all about brand. Look, let's get rid of the EPT brand and let's make it the Pokerstars Championship, because then we're carrying the brand somewhere else. It's kind of the most stupid decision ever, because one of the reasons the EPT was successful is it was a completely separate company. I created this company, and one of the reasons that you could go into some of the territories, like you could actually work with casinos, was because you weren't an online. So what they will have found when they created the Pokerstars Championship, I think they had to close a lot of the events because they couldn't deal with these guys anymore, you know, or they weren't legally allowed to deal with them because they were an online site. It was kind of really stupid. I mean, some people make really dumb decisions in life. I think they are focusing very much on, I hate the word vertical, you know, but when people start talking about verticals, it's always, they've lost touch with their core value, I think, because if you're having to diversify so much into different areas, you were a poker site. Now you think, oh, we're not getting double-digit growth anymore, therefore we better start diversifying into other areas. Okay, sportsbook, casino first, then sportsbook, then what else? What next? You know, clothing. I don't know. The thing is, where do you lose track of what you lose touch with where you were, and it all becomes about the bottom line and shareholders and dividends, and that's really what it becomes about. New CEOs come in, that they have their brief is to actually improve results, you know, and they're going to do anything they possibly can to improve results. And if that means bringing in crack cocaine games, then that's what they're going to do, you know. And fuck the regular poker players. We don't give a damn. That's how I feel.
Yeah. Echo again. Oh, go away. Echo. Do you have headphones, John?
Yeah.
Like these little white things.
Yeah, I know what they are. Hold on, I'll have to go and get them then.
John's first time ever hearing headphones, guys. I can't give shout outs without the echo. Hold on. Oh, I can. We still have Maddie. We still have this guy Jao Cabral in the chat, guys. I don't know what he's talking about right now, but he's saying some all sorts of weird stuff out there, man. Who else we got out there, man? Travis Negreanu. What up, Travis? What's happening, brother? What's going on out there? The real Joey Bag of Donuts. I don't know about that name, bro, but I like it. It's okay. Much love, man. What's happening, Poppy? What's going on? What else we got in there, man? Jeffrey Rutan. What up, Jeff? The Hugh Hefner of poker. He does kind of look like Hugh Hefner. That is a fact. Felipe Vanegas, shout out to Colombian and Cocaine, bro. Yes, Felipe, shout out to Colombian and Cocaine, okay? Chris P, what up, Chris P? What's happening, brother? What's going on? Paul Borgen, what's up, Big Pimp? What's happening, buddy? Crazy North Entertainment for a long time. PS was my home away from home. I miss the good old days. I can see that. Pawnage, what's up, Pawnage? Shout out, please. What's going on, buddy? Jacob Hacker, what up, Jacob Hacker? What are you hacking, man? I used to have a friend last name Hacker back in the day, brother. Lazin. What is that name? 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice hat, Poppy. Thank you. This is the Nolan Hold'em hat we're wearing right now. Muba shirt. Jamali. I don't even know how to say that name, bro. That's a tough one to say. Buddha Bear. What up, Buddha Bear? What's happening, Big Poppy? Colamosa. Andre S. What's happening? Andre S. John's getting set up over there, making himself look good with these headphones. Let's see if he's get it. Let's see. Diego Casco. Love from Uruguay. Joey, land of the 6 cents. I don't know if that's necessarily the best thing to be associated with. I think 6 cents was a little bit out of line when it came to. Oh, you there?
Can you hear me now? I
can hear you.
Has the buzz gone?
It sounds good. So it's been sounding good so far since you came back in.
Okay, good. There we go.
Boom.
Maybe that'll work better now.
I got some early shout outs.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The people are happy for the shout outs. They're okay. They're all right. They're okay in there. But I guess let's kind of follow up on the last thing you talked about, which just the idea of kind of what Pokerstars has done. And I guess when you look at the EPT now, obviously you have a special bond with this because this is what you created. You created this, you started this, you had a vision in mind, and you executed on that vision, and you turned it into something special. Then team with Pokerstars, eventually they take over and they turn into what they turn into now. And when you sit here and you look at that, like, how does that make you feel? Because I imagine for me, if I started something and then like fucking, I don't know, WSOP came in and took over, and then they ran into the ground, I'd be a little upset, and I'd be like, damn, man, I put so many years behind this and made this what it is. And like this was like kind of my legacy in a lot of ways. And now it's, you guys just don't give a fuck about the same things anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I was upset, I think, to begin with. I'm not really that upset now. I think the only thing I can do is try to do it again, try to do the same thing again. It's not, I mean, they can call it the EPT, but it's not the EPT. It's not, it will never be the same again. No matter what they do, no matter what song and dance they put on, it can't get like, the thing is about the corporate structure, it's so big, that company, that it can never ever be what we're doing. It can never do what we're doing. You can't make decisions as quickly as we make them. We can make a decision in minutes. They have to have meetings and emails and group discussions, and you can't spend more than this, and you can't do that. It's a behemoth now. And what happens, it's funny, a friend of mine had a company, and she set up I won't say the name of it, but she set up a sort of shop in in Notting Hill. She's a very good fashion designer, and she set up a shop, and then she set up 2, 3, 4, 5, then she went to Japan, and suddenly before you know it, sort of 15, 20 years later, she's got this huge international brand, massive international brand, which was great. Then suddenly it got taken over, right? And part of her deal was that she stayed on for a few years, and that was fine. She stayed on for a few years, and then suddenly, once she'd gone, the whole thing changed. It was really weird. If you saw her shop fronts now, you'd go, they've got nothing. It's exactly the same name stores, but they just look nothing like it anymore. It's just completely different. And so it'll probably end up going under in about sort of 3 or 4 years. And look, I don't know. Look, there are still some very good people who work for the Stars Group. I know, and it's kind of unfortunate, really, that it's gone the way it has. But that's life.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly.
Just sadly, actually, you did mention verticals, and that is obviously something Amaya has talked about very extensively, especially with the new acquisition they just did of I can't remember, Skybet. I'm not familiar with what Skybet is. I think it's a UK company and very big in the sports betting. But they've talked about when they took over, they wanted to make, it was 100% poker revenue. They wanted to turn that into all other revenue, casino, sports betting, casino style games. And I mean, that's pretty much all they talk about. They don't talk about let's grow poker. They don't talk about let's think about anything to do with the live events. It seems like let's figure out how to take all these people, how to stop letting them cash out money, how to get them into casino style games and get them into these other verticals. And I think that's, that is what it is. That's from a business standpoint, that's probably going to be good for them. They're going to have a lot of success. They're going to do well. But yeah, I mean, the neglect definitely shows. And kind of when you have Party Poker right now, and when you're doing what's kind of the, what's the goal? What kind of message do you want to get out there to the players and kind of say, hey, this is why you should play the Party Poker events. This is why you should support us and what we're trying to do for poker.
Well, I don't want to do a pitch too much, because I think people just need to come and find out for themselves. The events so far have been great fun. Whether they've been in Sochi in Russia, in Rozvadov in the Czech Republic, at DTD, at the Caribbean Adventure, now in Canada. If you look at all these venues that I just said, they're all just they're predominantly poker. Rozvadov is predominantly poker. The playground was all poker. Sochi, huge poker room. Huge poker room there. They're really focusing on poker there. And the thing is, it's all of our partners and all of the people who we're working together with are just that we're all focused on creating the best possible experience for players that we can. If we achieve it, great. and I hope we do. Barcelona, it was really good fun. I forgot the Irish Open as well. The Irish Open, great crack. I don't know if have you ever played in Dublin?
I have not played in Dublin, but I imagine it's very out of line there, and I would very much enjoy it.
Yeah, you would. You'd love it there. I mean, it's such a. I mean, that's another great place. But it's just those are the things that we want to do. I went to Dusk Till Dawn. I went to Dusk Till Dawn. It's just an amazing place. It's an amazing card room. Just everybody there is just really, really, really friendly. The dealers are incredibly professional. The Rake is incredibly competitive. In the cash games, and it's just a really, really. It feels like a club. It just feels like a community. Everybody seems to know each other. People go back there, and they almost treat it like a club. Like it's almost like Cheers in a way. You go there, you play your cards, you have a laugh, you have a drink, you eat, and then you go home again. And that's really what it really should be about. Nobody wants to make millions and millions and millions of pounds running these things. They don't make that. Live tournaments, they don't really make that much money. They really don't. Because you've got you're splitting money here, there, and everywhere with partners. You're not going to get mega rich from live tournaments, but you can have great fun doing it. That's for sure.
So I guess what makes an event fun? I know I read about.
I can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Go on, try again.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can definitely hear you right now.
Okay, good.
Someone said if I started a poker site, they would deposit their life savings on there. Thank you, Jacob Hacker. That is very nice to know. I will let you know if I ever start a poker site, and you can happily deposit your entire life savings on there. I will make sure you win. I'm going to rig. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to pull ACR and do that to you. But yeah, so what makes a fun environment? Like, I think I saw something about open bar. Like, I guess, you mentioned, it seems like you're very much aware of the workers having a good time. You go to World Series of Poker, the dealers look like they want to blow their brains out. Like, that's what they look like. And I understand they're bringing in a lot of dealers from all over the USA. These guys aren't necessarily gonna be the happiest people. The Rio, it is what it is. So is it even really possible to have all employees who are energetic, who light up the room when they're there, when they're working? Is it possible to have an atmosphere of people who are jovial, having a good time, or drinking, or having fun? Because it seems like from what I see, which is here in America, at something like the World Series of Poker, it's pretty challenging to kind of do something like that for a bigger tournament stop.
I think it's really hard for the WSOP because you've got so many dealers there, and I'm sure that they just feel like an anonymous person in those huge rooms. Mm-hmm. I think with us, what's maximum we have, like 120 tables or something, so maybe 150 dealers, I don't know. But it's about feeling valued. As long as people feel valued, then they're going to have a good time. As long as they can have fun. As long as you just value people as a human being, then and I hope I do that naturally. Yes, look, I really appreciate everybody that works for PPL, and there's no. I think a lot of it's about that, and it's about people just. No, okay, you can work if you enjoy doing what you're doing. If you don't, if a dealer doesn't, if they obviously don't enjoy what they're doing, then they shouldn't really be doing it. Nobody. I don't believe anybody should do anything they don't enjoy doing. And I know it's I did 5 years of a job once I hated when I between 22 and 27. I nearly shot myself. I hated it. It was like in an office in London, and it was really boring. I drank too much because I hated it so much, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I think it's far better that you find something you enjoy doing and find something you love doing, and stick with it. And I think a lot of dealers really enjoy dealing. A lot of our dealers, they enjoy dealing, and they enjoy interacting with players, and and also a lot of them are players themselves, so they kind of love the game. And the same goes for all of the floor staff. It feels like people are enjoying working really hard, but it feels like they're actually enjoying working hard, and they're all part of this part of the journey to try to make this work.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned something about Rake earlier, and I kind of put out there that I was going to have you on the podcast, and I got some messages from people out there, and they talked about how some of the Rake is high on some of the turbo events and those kind of things. And I'll ask you some things about this, and I'm not super familiar about these areas, so I mean, I have an idea, but I'm not playing these. I'm not familiar, and have friends playing these. I haven't really heard many complaints or positive things either way, for the most part, on the specifics of these events. So I'll kind of ask you some things that I've, that I've been talking, that people have talked to me about, people that I respect and I know that participate in these, and kind of get your feedback on them. So I guess the idea of high rake and turbo tournaments, where do you guys kind of stand on that?
Well, online. Are you talking online?
I'm talking about live events.
Which ones specifically?
Yeah, that's kind of the one I was kind of the message I'm saying. I'm not sure like if I want to get into kind of who I heard this from, but they said they run turbos where edges are even smaller and charge pretty high rake on them. And kind of just the overall environment of he mentioned that there wasn't many fun players or recreationals or locals at a lot of the events, but it's mainly very professional driven. And if there are any plans in the future to potentially make the ratio of fun players and recreational players, local players, I guess a little bit better than pros. He said it's very skewed towards the all professional poker players who rebuy in a lot and yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't. Was that player at Barcelona?
Yes.
It's hard to know. Okay, so look, Barcelona I thought it had a really good cross section. There were a lot of serious poker players there. I think the high rollers, obviously there were 4 or 5 high roller events. So whoever they were, they will have seen a lot of really top players there for sure. But that's the whole idea, is to try to make the thing aspirational. So that if you have high rollers alongside a 1K event, I mean, whoever it was, they can't have looked at the 1K, the opening 1K event, because that was predominantly recreational players, I would say. You don't get 1,000 serious, it's maybe they were just looking over at the high rollers. I don't know. It seems a little bit of an unfair accusation, but if it's true, then we'll certainly want to change it, because I don't want, and neither does anybody else want, a professional tour, a totally 100% professional tour, full of just grinders and serious GTO players, because that's not what I wouldn't go and play in an event like that. And the reality is, we want to create events that I want to go and play in, and they have to be quite fun. If there are good players there, then that's great, because I can learn a lot from them too. But as long as they're kind of entertaining, I kind of like good players who are entertaining and chatty at the table. Jason Kuhn, lovely guy, chatty at the table. People who you can talk to, have a conversation with. And a formidable player. I know for a fact that if we want to create this environment where players, new players and recreational players, look at poker as a game that they can improve at. Okay, not just do their money every time they sit down, but actually come and look at it and actually start to look at what people are doing, what the current trend is, what GTO is. Use some software to improve your game if you want to. Learn techniques, learn about ranges, learn about putting people on all these sort of things. I never used to put people on a range of hands. I used to put them on pocket 10s, or I used to just say, all right, he's definitely got pocket 10s. I never played with ranges, but it's been, for me, over the last sort of few years, it's been really fascinating to watch Run It Once video. I love Lucas Greenwood. I love watching his videos on Run It Once. So, I love Jason's videos on Run It Once. And I could, as an older player, I can learn so much from guys like you. I can learn a lot from guys like you. And if you've got, and that's great, because it's a new journey to go on. It's a new adventure. Now, look, whoever it is who's saying, I don't look, if the rake's too high, we'll take a look at it. Email me. Email me. john.duthie@mypartypokerlive.com. I'll give you the email. Put it in your chat later. People can email me if they've got a complaint and they think something's too high, or we've made a mistake. We're not greedy. We don't want to rape our customers. Sorry, just let me turn this phone off. We don't want to rape our customers. We want to make sure that they have a good time and come back. people don't come back. You know, if you don't treat them well or if you're greedy, they just won't come back again.
Yeah, you mentioned Jason Kuhn. Shout
Now,
to Jason Kuhn. Shout to Jason. Oh, echo. The echo's back again. You might have to switch the headphones in the settings in the Google Hangout at the top to the headphones.
Okay, where we go? Okay, back over to headphones.
Amelia W. He does not want to rape you. Yes, that is confirmed. He does not. Party Poker does not want to rape you. Yet. I never know about these. I don't know, man. Never know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, it sounds better now.
I'm glad I can't see the chat.
They're not saying anything. They're talking all sorts of weird stuff. And now it's on ACR about America's Card. I don't know where they're going with these things. They're just going in all different directions in the chat sometimes. So you never exactly know. Benji Bear said, this is a real dude. Wow, very cool dude. Not at all a kid poker sellout. So I want to ask you about Daniel Negreanu. Obviously, you've worked with Negreanu. You've been around there. What are your thoughts on what Negreanu puts out there about the things, the decisions that Pokerstars is doing? Because you're old school poker guy, so I imagine you got a strong opinion about this one way or the other.
Strong opinion. Look, Daniel does what Daniel does. You know, I can't. It's very. I go kind of hot and cold on Daniel. I kind of think he's a very complicated individual and very confused sometimes. And I just, you know, it's kind of his main enemy is his ego, really, I suppose. But he's kind of, there's you know, in principle, I agree with a lot of what he says about some things, and then I just go, holy, how can you say that about other things, you know? But I know that some people really he can get right up some people's nose. I kind of, you know, I want to like him, but sometimes I get really angry with him, you know. But that's okay. You can be angry with somebody and still, you know, like them. But I think he's very sort of, once he's made his mind up, it's very hard to sort of to change it. But you know, yeah, I know you guys. I know you guys sort of look. You don't need me to say anything about it. You give him a hard enough time as it is. You know, I'm not jump on your bandwagon smashing.
Listen, he said, "Fuck the regs and more rake's better." Does Party Poker agree that higher rake is better for recreational poker players, or is that not something Party Poker thinks?
Look, no, of course not. It's not sustainable. But the thing is okay. I kind of read some of that argument. To be honest, I didn't really understand it, Joey. You know, I tried to understand it. I thought, how can charging people more money be good? You know, I couldn't kind of work it out. Okay, only if we give it back in one way or this. I didn't kind of get it, and you know, I still don't get it. And look, it's just that once again, that is what it is, you know. But I think that you know, there are ways of disagreeing with people. I kind of like, look, I like Doug. I like what Doug does, right? But sometimes he can get a bit personal with Daniel, and sometimes I kind of find that a bit unpleasant. It's kind of, you know, there was one point where he was, I don't know, I can't remember, he said something, this is a year or two ago about Daniel. I just thought, hold on, that's a bit out of order. I'm not, you know, it's just, he doesn't, I don't think Doug does himself any favors making things too personal and being a bit too, in the same way that Daniel used to do that to Howard Lederer. You know, he used to say, I'm going to break your fucking, you know, break your legs and stuff like that. You don't need to get like that. You know, you can disagree with somebody without actually getting really personal. And actually, I think it lessens an argument sometimes when you get really personal with someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know? Doug does. Out of order. I like that. Triple O. There's out of line and there's out of order. I think Doug certainly may get out of order occasionally on some of the things that he says about people, but he's in crypto now. He's going after John McAfee and I don't know. He's going after the world, man. He's gonna be president one day. So he's got bigger fish to fry now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he seems to be doing pretty well in that arena. Is that still a thing, crypto? I don't know. Is it?
Listen, is it still a thing? It's coming back now. I don't know. I haven't looked at crypto. You know, there was a big craze where like you'd crypto Twitter every day. Oh my God, crypto. You know, they were going crazy. And then I just haven't looked. I'm not looking. I got money in crypto. I'm not. If I lose it all, I lose it all. It is what it is. I'm just not going to look at it right now. So that's kind of been my stance on crypto. But allegedly, it's coming back. And I don't know. I just look at Doug. The more frequent he does crypto content, the better I know crypto's doing. That's kind of my my way, my gauge of telling how cryptocurrency is doing.
I think, look, if I were interested in crypto, I think I'd certainly listen to what Doug had to say for sure, because I think he's a very bright and very astute guy. I think he's, and I'm sure he would research it a hell of a lot,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know anything about cryptocurrency. I think I invested in a company called Genesis Mining 3 or 4 years ago, and that's it. That's all I've done.
Is that still investment live, or is this like done? Is this you cashed out of that?
Yeah, it's still there. It trickles in. I get paid in Ethereum every day. It just trickles in, drip, drip, drip. I don't know anything about it. I just look at how much it's worth, and then I've never sold it. I just leave it there. I think my attitude is, look, if it does take off in 25 years time, maybe my kids can have it. They can do what they want with it. I don't. To me, it's just a it's like putting a chip on a number on the roulette table is for me.
How old are your kids? How many kids do you have?
26 and 24, 2 boys.
Mm. Are they poker players, gamblers themselves? What do they do with themselves?
No, they don't. Luckily, I'm really pleased to say they don't play poker. They never asked me to teach them how to play poker. I think I don't know. I'm really pleased that they don't in some ways. One of them, the younger ones, played a few tournaments. He likes it. And, I met him out in Vegas last year. Him and a friend, and we went and played some tournaments together. We had a really good time, and that was fun. But neither of them play a lot, and they're not good. And I kind of said to them, look, it's really difficult now. If you wanted to learn and take it seriously, it's kind of hard to sort of. You've got to study. You've got to be, if you want to be good, you've got to work at it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think poker is such a great thing to do as you get older. As you get older as a man, you get in your 30s, you got a family, or you have a couple of friends, you have your job. I feel like poker in some capacity is such a enjoyable thing to do when you compare it to what else is out there. So you might have video games, or you might have going to the bar with your friends, or maybe getting too drunk and driving home there, or it's like kind of what can you do for this entertainment? And I think a lot of people might use Netflix or use television, those sorts of things. But I think for an actual activity, whether it's in a casino or whether it's with your friends, preferably home games, it's probably gonna be a little bit more fun. But I think poker is always gonna be a very fun thing for people to do, and that's kind of why I don't think poker is really ever gonna go away. And so when people say, like, should I play poker? I say, well, you don't want to ruin your life, and you don't want to lose all your money, and you don't want to be able to support your family or support yourself, but it's still a fun thing to do, and kind of like encourage the poker community to maintain that fun atmosphere and that fun experience at the casino, at the live games, instead of being on your iPad, or instead of like not just going there and not saying a goddamn word. And this is something people have been talking about for years, but I do think it's a very important thing, is to kind of maintain or keep an enjoyable atmosphere for players, and encourage new players to keep playing and keep trying it out and keep coming.
I think you're right. There's a really big pub poker league here in the UK. It's like people go and they play poker in the pubs. Really small money, and they're drinking and chatting, and that's real grassroots poker. That's really what it's about. And what I'd love to be able to do is capture the atmosphere of a pub poker game on on PartyPoker Live. I think that's what we're really trying to do. Is to just have that. It's funny enough, I got into poker because I stopped drinking, and I thought, shit, what am I going to do? There's no point going into pubs anymore. And I went, I started playing blackjack, and but then suddenly I saw these guys in a corner of the Victoria Casino here in London, or there in London. And I went over to them and I said, what are you playing? They looked like a really interesting bunch of guys. There was only about 7 of them playing, and they were playing 7-card stud, and they were very happy to tell me what they were playing, of course. And then what happened is, I wrote off for some books, and to the Gambler's Bookshop in Vegas on 7-card stud, and read a bit about it. And then I went back in there, and they were all self-deal games. You just dealt them yourself. But it was just, what was great about it, it was this wonderful sort of classless arena that you could just go in, and it didn't matter what mood you were in. If you were in a really up mood and you wanted to tell loads of stories and chat, you could. And if you were you wanted a quiet night and you weren't feeling that good, and you went there, you still felt that you were actually integrating with society. You still felt that you were part of the world. Whereas a lot of people, when they feel down or depressed, they kind of, they isolate, and they spend time on their own, right? And that's kind of the last thing you should do when you're feeling depressed. You should kind of go out. If you're feeling depressed, go out somewhere and just try to talk to other people and tell people you can tell people you're feeling a bit down. Just interact with others. I think interaction with others is really important. I live down here. I live about an hour and a half outside of London now, in the countryside. There are no houses anywhere near here. If I spend more than 3 or 4 days here, okay, I love the dogs, but I start to go a little bit stir crazy. I need people. I like the company of people. I like hearing people's stories. I like knowing what they're doing. I like, maybe it's helping other people with issues if I can. I don't know whether I can, but if I can, I will. But I think that's really what poker does for me. It's really important to actually play the game, but it's not just about the game. It's actually about interacting with other people. Come to think of it, one of the biggest obstacles I think on tours of Europe is language. I think the interaction of people is very difficult, because you might be sitting at a table, with a couple of Russians, a couple of Italians, a couple of French, Spanish, and I think this can be a real issue. The sooner that we can get like a Babel fish type thing in your ear, where you can understand everything that everyone's saying, it'd be really, really interesting. Luckily, a lot of people do speak English, but not everybody. But because I'd love to be able to interact a lot more with Russians. I'd like to get to know Russians a lot more. I think they're a really fascinating country, and the ones that I have got to know, once you get to know them, they're just really loyal, really, really loyal, and very, very friendly. And sometimes they get painted in a very harsh way. But look. What other job can you do where you have the opportunity to travel, to go to so many different countries and to meet people from different countries? I've been blessed really with my career so far.
How much poker do you still play yourself?
Oh. Yeah, well, go to a PP live event. You'll see. All I do is play cash. Because once the tournament starts, it's the tournament directors and the dealers and everybody else who does all the work. I can like wander around and shake hands, but after about half an hour, I just get bored. So I just play cash. I just play cash all the time, which is another good reason for people to come to the events.
Wait, do you when you're playing live, are you playing 2-card Pot Limit Omaha, or are you playing the great game of Pot Limit Omaha, the 4-card version?
I play both. Sometimes I'll play Hold'em for a few hours, and then I'll get bored of it, and then I'll go and really enjoy myself playing PLO. Because it's for a player like me, PLO is just much more fun, because you can play more hands and you can make more moves. And I think I watched your podcast with Barry the other night, and he just described PLO so well about being able to make so many more moves, because people always think you've got the nuts, and he had some really good stories to tell. It was a great podcast. I didn't watch all of it though.
You didn't get your piss bottles out for the 4-hour version at one time. It's a lot. So
that was long. I watched about an hour. I think I was playing online at the same time, and I watched I'd say probably about an hour, but it was all great stuff.
Yeah, he's do you know a lot of those older school guys like a Barry Greenstein or Doyle? Because you've been around for a while too. Are you friendly, or do you have like a favorite sort of character in the poker world that you think about?
No, obviously I know Barry, and I like Barry a lot. He's a great guy. The old school guys, I don't know Doyle really. I don't, I know of him. I don't think he'd know. I don't think he would know me. I say hello to him, sometimes, but but Johnny Chan, you know, and I know, and we talk in Vegas. I suppose I know most of them. Billy Baxter, I really like. He's do you know Billy?
I know he's old school.
Like.
I've heard that I need to meet him at some point and maybe get him on the pod, but I have not officially met him myself, though. No.
He's a real lovely guy. He's a great character too. You know, real. I think he's maybe from Texas. I'm sure he's from Texas or Arizona, down south somewhere. And he's just. It'd be great to get him on and get him to tell some of the stories, especially for some of the Stu Under stories, because he was a Stu's main. You know, he was Stu's backer. You know. But I'm sure he's got many stories to tell outside of that. But the problem is, he's not. I don't know whether he'd come on because he's not really. You know, he's just a road. He's still a kind of road gambler. He's not associated, as far as I know, with any business. You know, like Barry. Obviously, Barry doesn't want to come on. He's still associated with the Maya Stars, and he would obviously want to come on. But I'm not sure. I don't know whether Billy would come on or not. But look, whenever I've got to know people over the years, but I wouldn't call them. I don't think close friends or anything. Viffer, I like Viffer.
I'm sure you do. I like Viffer too, John.
yeah. Viffer's. Did he ever hear that story about when I called him with Queen High?
No, I have not. But we have not had a Viffer story in a while, so I would like to hear about this.
Okay, we were playing at the Venetian. We were playing at a Venetian game, which Gabe, what was he called? Gabe, not Kaplan, another guy called Gabe Thaler, I think he was called. Do you remember? I don't know. He used to be.
I remember that person. Yeah. Yeah,
he used to be. And anyway, there was Bob Bright was in the game. I think Phil Lack was in the game. Viffer was in the game. Jamie Gold was in the game.
Sounds like a great game. How do we get in this game?
I was in the game. Okay, it was a sick game. And anyway, there was this hand. I don't really remember it exactly. I just remember I had like something like Queen. I had something like Queen Jack or Queen 10 or something like that. And I'd raised pre-flop. It's Hold'em, by the way. I'd raised pre-flop under the gun, and Viffer had called me in mid position, I think, or something like that. And the flop came down ace high. So I kind of bet. I didn't understand about bet sizing back then, so I probably bet like the pot. You know what I mean? Because I play pot limit back in London, I probably bet the pot. So I bet the pot. Viffer called. Then the ace paired on the turn. I bet again. I can't remember what it was. And Viffer shoved all in for like sort of 15K, 15,000, and I just went. And I had Queen High, right? And I just thought, okay, I just know he doesn't. I just knew he didn't have anything, right? And anyway, I thought the only hand I was scared of was King High for some reason. I just had it in my head that he didn't have anything and I was winning. And so, funny enough, I called him on the turn.
Wait, we gotta go back. Hold on a second.
Look it up.
Ace high, you've got Queen High. You bet one street, you bet a second street. He shoves all in. You moved Queen High.
Yeah. He moved all in because he knew I didn't have an ace. But that's what he said afterwards. And I called because I knew he didn't have anything. And then we ran it out. You can read about it. Actually, Phil Lack wrote. If you Google Phil Lack, the sickest hand, right? Because he wrote about it in I think a Bluff magazine, and you'll see you'll see it on there. I think it's called Phil Lack, the sickest hand.
I'll find this hand.
Huh?
I'll find it. I want to read about this.
But Viffer literally did Viffer's head in. He got up from the game and went for like a walk for like an hour and a half. And it's still to this day, he said, how the fuck did you call me there? What was going through your head? Why did you? And I said, I just don't know. I said, I just knew you didn't have anything, And it was and I was so certain that he didn't have anything. I actually was tipped the dealer before the last card came out because I just knew he didn't. And he went Jack High, and I said Queen High. And everybody jumped up from the table going, what the fuck's going on? It was crazy. It was very stupid. But I think he gave his seat up to Tom Dwan, and then Tom came into the game and completely felted me, and I ended up going back to the Bellagio.
Yeah, I'm not sure you want to have Durr replace Viffer in the game. I don't know. I mean, Viffer's definitely a fun action. I think
he sure is. He sure is.
He's definitely.
Don't see him.
How do you think we get these characters back in the game, John? You know, I posted something today on my Instagram about Sammy Farha. Some of these quotes. The guy's fucking hilarious, by the way. He's got this man, Sammy Farha. Everything I've ever watched him, he has like 3 quotables in there. He's like, I play a very dangerous game, and he's like, I play against good players. I have advantage. I'm like, well, this guy's awesome. He just like straight face, just says it how it is. But, you know, we used to have a lot of characters, and a lot of those characters were assisted by content on the main event, on the World Series of Poker, on high stakes poker, poker after dark. And now a lot of those characters, the characters have gone away, and they've been replaced by other players who, you know, I don't necessarily know if it's the player's job to get themselves out there as characters, because a lot of those guys didn't necessarily get themselves out there. It's just that ESPN happened to do that. They put a big push behind them, or the sites push them. And do you think it's possible to replicate that with the current way that content works in the world?
No, I don't think it is. I think that the significance of TV for poker has pretty much gone. I think it's all down to streaming now and sites like PokerGo. And you can't. There's only so much that people can take of Antonio and Phil. As much as I love Phil and Antonio, you know, you can only take so much of their antics. You know, it's fairly transparent as well. I think you need kind of more different personalities now. Like I like Jungle Man and people like that. I think Daniel's really, you know, he's a really fascinating character, and I think you need people like him, and you need people like Jason. You need Coons. You think, you know, it's a different type of personality that have come through now. I don't, you know, I think there's a new show that's, I think, what is it, Poker Night in America started this new show coming live from Los Angeles with, you know, football players and film stars and getting all these sort of people in. I don't think that's going to work. I think we kind of been there and we've done that. I think what we need to keep the game entertaining, but I think also we need to keep it stimulating. I don't think as a way of attracting new players to the game, it works to bring in, you know, great personalities. And, you know, I don't know whether Kevin Hart worked for Stars. I'm not sure whether he did or not. I don't know whether he's still on their books or not. Does it really bring people into the game to see, you know, someone, you know, a so-called character bring in players? I don't think. I'm not sure it does. I think it's far more likely that people will come into the game through their own personal experience at the table. You know, they'll try it out, and if they'll try it out, and if people are all sitting around in headphones and not talking to each other, they'll go and play blackjack, or we'll go and do something else, or go and go to the bar. You know, if you want a good time, a poker room is not the place to go nowadays, but it used to be, you know. And the thing is, that's what I want to try and get back. You know, it is, you know, okay, Dusk Till Dawn, it still is. I promise you, if ever you get the chance to go to Dusk Till Dawn, go there. If you go to the Fitzwilliam in Dublin, it still is. If you go to any Irish poker event, it still is. You know, if you go, actually, King's Casino in Rosderbuck it's still entertainment. You know, it's still about entertainment. But a lot of poker rooms you go in nowadays, and I'm sad to say the Victoria Casino has become like this. It's just boring, you know. You just go in there, and there's no sense of energy. There's no sense of excitement. It's like everybody's there just grinding away, just doing this, doing that. There's nothing happening. You know, people are just waiting for hands. You know. So how you do that? I don't know. I mean, we're trying to do it, but we're not making any particular, you know, I don't know. There's no formula to do it. I don't think. I think what we're trying to do is just have good people around us and entertaining people, or just people who are personable. This is the main thing. If you can have personable dealers and personable floor staff, and everybody involved, and, you know, whoever the waitresses, waiters, everybody who is involved. if they're personable and they're fun and friendly, then that's contagious, and people will do it. And as far as at the table itself, I think players kind of have a responsibility to start engaging with other people around. You can learn a lot from talking to people. You can learn a lot. I never stop listening to other people's conversations, or actually talking, or interacting with people myself, because you can learn so much. And at a poker table, for some reason, because the conversation is often real. Like at a dinner party or something. I can't bear dinner parties. I go to dinner parties and all people talk about is, it's just crap, isn't it? Bless my wife, I love her, but she always gets me invited to these dinner parties, and I kind of go there and I just go, oh my God, not again. I'd rather be playing cards, or I'd rather be playing on the internet than this. And it's kind of and the reason for that is that people don't talk about reality at dinner parties. Not a lot of people, they just talk about what they think they should talk about, or they don't say, sometimes at a dinner party I'll just say to the woman next to me, have you ever slept with another woman? Just to break the ice.
My question right there.
Really, you know what I mean? Something really significant. But I just want to get to know people. I just want to know what. And okay, I haven't been slapped yet, but I just want to know what's going on with people and not hear the usual old crap.
Is that out of line? I mean, that's certainly one of my questions. I think I might ask. It might be like, what's your favorite porn? It used to be an old podcast question we asked a lot of people, but is that out of line these days? 2000, what year are we? 2018. Is that out of line in 2018? Is that still okay to ask that question? I feel like you could, because you got the accent. I think you could say that, and people are gonna laugh. I don't know.
Yeah, but I would never ask anybody that question under the age of 45. Okay. I don't,
me either.
I've got to be really careful around my son's girlfriends. You know what I mean? You've got to be really. I think it's very. My sons have accused me of objectifying women. I said, well, what does it mean? What does that mean, objectifying women? I said, Dad, you're just a dirty old man. You just objectify women. You just don't understand this day and age. Oh, okay, man. Okay, I surrender. I did, and they don't. I'm not a pervert. But there's trouble. I think that in this day and age, it's very difficult for it's a really interesting thing. Funny enough, a friend and I were talking about doing a film script about male identity. About what's happening to male identity, what's happening to masculinity, because I think it's a really interesting a similar thing to Fight Club. It would be like Fight Club, but it would be more about what's happening to manhood, nowadays, because I think men are going through a real crisis. I think we know who we are in the Western, in America and in the UK and places like that. I don't think it's an issue in Russia or in the Middle East or anything like that. But I think with us, I think it's a real issue, and I think I really want to delve into that a lot more, because I feel very sorry for my son and his generation, because this whole sort of idea of being a man seems to have changed so much, and how you interact. I was very fortunate in that my mother was she was a doctor and a surgeon, so I had a role model of a very strong, very powerful, very beautiful woman. So for me, I was very, very lucky. So I've always kind of respected and I've always been drawn towards women who are have their own career or whatever, and so I've never. I kind of get on okay in this world, but I think there are a lot of men who actually are like a little bit lost. I think maybe we'll probably delve into it. He's a very good writer, so hopefully he'll research it and come up with something really good.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like something I'd be very interested in watching. What is this echo? John, did you have do you have the right headphones chosen? You got to make sure the black one's chosen, or the computer speaker's chosen.
Oh God, I don't know. Let's have a look. Back to settings.
Back to the settings page we go here.
Okay, the headset is. Let me try. I'm going to do what? I'm going to do built-in input and see if that helps.
We shall
Okay,
see.
I'm going to take the headphones off and see. How's that?
We'll see. We'll test it out.
Test
We'll
it
see
out.
how it goes. Whatever. It is what it is. You know, it comes back. It comes back. We'll make it work here. So, but I think you mentioned an interesting topic, which is about the idea of manhood. I certainly be interested in watching that specific thing. You know, it's funny. I remember a couple weeks back, I was sitting there and enjoying my night. You know, getting a lot of line. And I think one of the videos I put on was, what does it mean to be a man in 2018? Like, what does that mean? What did it mean to be a man back in the day, and how is it different now? Because I do kind of understand where you're coming from, and it hasn't been something I really thought about too often. I didn't really talk to my dad very often, so you didn't necessarily have that father figure in my life. It was just my mom, who was my mom and my dad. So I think in a lot of ways, I didn't necessarily even learn, still probably don't know a lot of ways, like what it really means to be a man, because you just didn't really have anybody to show me those ways. So now that's, as I'm kind of becoming a little bit more aware of myself or my surroundings, that's something I am looking to dive more into. And just like what a man does, take care of himself and takes care of the people around him, takes care of his family and those sorts of things like that. So the topic is pretty interesting to me. I don't know if other people share that same interest in it, but yeah, that's something I would definitely enjoy watching.
Good. Well, hopefully it'll come off the ground. But like everything, it'll probably take 2 years to get together. But I think it's a really, we spoke about it a few months ago, me and this guy and another actor guy, and I think that it's not. I think a lot of people, I think they're slightly younger than me. They're in their like late 30s, early 40s, I think, and they just seem to be having a difficult time with what being a man means in this day and age.
Yeah, I can understand their reservations out there. So we got a lot of people in the chat right now. What are people saying in here right now? Is that true? Have you ever fought against a lion, John?
No, but I rode bulls in Australia. That was the most manly thing I've ever done.
Did you used to live in Australia?
I lived there for a year. It's going back a long time, actually a year and a half. In 1976, I worked on a farm for a while for my uncle out there. I used to be what was called a dagger, which meant you pulled the dagger, which is you worked in the shearing sheds of a sheep farm, and you sort of pulled the dags, which are bits of shit that hang off the back of a sheep's fleece. And then I worked at this sort of outward bound school at Mount Buller, which was in Victoria. And I loved it. I had a great time there. And then some guy, one of the maintenance guy, who was about 70, put my name down for the local rodeo for a joke, and then told all the kids at the school that I was going to be in the rodeo, and I couldn't not do it. And I enjoyed it, and so I did about 3 or 4 more, which was quite fun. But it's great. Have you been there? Have you been to Australia?
Yeah, I lived there for 7 months. I lived there for 7 months.
Did you love it?
I almost ruined my life there, but I enjoyed the time while I lived there. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, but it's an interesting place. I mean, I loved it because it's so outdoors. I learned to surf there, which was great.
Yeah, I think that was my problem, was I didn't actually go outside much. I kind of spent a lot of time grinding online poker on Pokerstars. So instead of going to Bondi Beach, because I live in Sydney, instead of going to the beach or kind of exploring the nature or the jungle or the woods or the kangaroos or the snakes, I stuck at home in my condo and I just played poker. That was, unfortunately, I didn't get too many sites.
I'm sure. Look, you're not alone. There's thousands of other people of your age. I would have definitely done that had online poker been around when I was your age, for sure. There's no doubt about it. Because the thing is, I didn't really know about balance in life, and I think you should. And sometimes I'm a very addictive personality, and I think even now I'll do really, really long sessions. And the trouble is, I just won't see the clock. But I do know that I'm a far better person. I feel far happier if I restrict it to win or lose. Okay, 5 hours max, online or live, 5 hours max, because there's so much else to do in the world than just sit in front of a monitor for 5 hours or sit at a poker table for 5 hours. It's a great game, and I think people are far more likely to enjoy it if they don't abuse it, and abuse themselves. Playing too, by playing too much. I didn't mean abuse yourself. Abuse yourself is something altogether different, of course. But you know, it's but going back to Australia, I mean, I loved it there. It was great. It was a great country, great people, really, really good time. But sadly, I got deported, which was a bit of a shame.
Why did you get deported? Because what happened?
No, I was working without a work permit, so it's like you know, I got caught working without a work permit, so they cancelled my visa, so I had to leave. You know, it was nothing serious. It was just I wasn't meant to be working. I was meant to be on like a holiday visa.
Thinking like that's so long ago. 1976 is 96. That's at 42 years ago. That seems like such a how old are you? What's are you?
I'm 60 in May.
60 in May. Yeah, that's
yeah.
Hard.
But I don't feel it. I don't feel it. I'm still. It's like, you know, it's like you're going to find this out in years to come. You know, God bless. That you get as you get older, you just. You know, you don't. Some people say, "Oh, you're old and wise." I'm no wiser now than I was sort of 20 years ago. I don't think. You know, I may have learned a few things, but you just still feel. I still feel personally. You know, as young as you know, I feel like a 25-year-old most of the time. I'm just trapped in a slightly older body. But I don't. You know. I don't really look after myself that much, but I, you know, I try to eat well, and I try to, you know, walk the dogs a couple of times a day. I don't go down the gym and things like that, but I'm not in really, you know, I'm not in bad shape really for somebody who's, you know, nearly 60. I never thought I would have lived this long anyway when I was younger.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to live till 60. I would probably bet on the other side of that too. And I kind of thought the same thing. I was like, when I get 30, I'm going to be so smart. Like 30-year-olds have it all figured out. And then you get 30 and you're like, damn, what was I thinking when I was 20? Like you're about you're very similar. It's not like you're that much different.
You'll probably get, the thing is, you'll probably get to 85. Honestly, when I was, how old are you now? 26? 27?
Oh man, I'm old, John. I'm old. Thank you though. I'm
glad.
It's the hat. I promise you it's the hat, but I'm 32 right now.
Are you 32? Okay, you look, you know, yeah, anyway, 28, 32, 35, they're all the same. But the thing is that, you know, when I was like 26, 27, I swear I didn't think I was going to reach 35. I honestly didn't. I was really abusing my body. I was drinking and taking too many drugs and having a really good time. And I honestly thought I wasn't gonna survive because it was 5 years. I had 5 years of just solid partying, you know, solid partying, which eventually caught up with me. But the thing is that when it, you know, that when it does catch up with you, you know, there are other, you know, there are other things that you learn to do. It's really interesting, you know. Life is pretty fascinating, you know, in so many ways. It's not just poker, you know. Poker's great. You know, I love poker. You know, the thing is about poker, I'm not going to say that poker saved my life, but I think it really helped me a great deal during my 30s. In that it gave me a hobby which didn't involve drink and didn't involve drugs, but still stimulated a part of my brain, which meant that I could. It's semi-addictive, you know what I mean? You can control it, but you can't. I don't want to get myself into trouble here, but I think there's something really attractive about poker, which means that you can. It can be, you know, it can be your mistress, and you can really enjoy it, and you can learn it, and you can interact with other people. But it doesn't. You can play it, but unlike drugs and drink and other things, it doesn't kill you. It's not going to kill you. Okay, what's the worst that can happen? You go skint. You know, I've been skint 3 times in my life, and when I say broke, I mean like I can't buy a packet of cigarettes broke. You know, so that you know that's that's 3 times. And one of the times was about a week before I set up the EPT. You know, literally, you know, skint, and it's like you learn. You know, you learn so much about yourself. I am at my most creative when I have nothing, when I have absolutely nothing. That's when I'm at my most creative, and I think that probably applies to most people, because you have to. you have to get up, you have to go out, and you have to work out how the hell am I going to eat today? How am I going to smoke today? If you want a cigarette, what am I going to do? And it's an eye opener. You've had I've had periods of my life where I've slept rough for a week or so. I've had periods of my life where I've done all sorts of jobs. God knows how many jobs I've done. And you learn from it all. I didn't suddenly fall into becoming a film director or anything like that. I did so many things, and even when I was directing, I wasn't really sure that I wanted to do that either. It's just like flip-flopping around. I want to. It's. I think the great thing about poker is that I came from a very dysfunctional family, Joe, and so the amplitude of my life when I was a child was going up and down like this, right? Really up and down all the time. Sometimes you never knew what you were going to. When you put the key in the door of your house, you never knew what the fuck you were going to walk into. So it was up and down, up and down. So this to me was the norm, up and down, up and down, and up and down. So for me, the film industry was great because it's exactly like that. It's up and down. You never know what's going to happen. And in a way, poker's like that too. It's up and down, up and down. God, sometimes you're winning, sometimes you're losing. So my flat line is this amplitude. These highs and lows. And once you accept that that's your flat line, that's your composure, that's the way you live your life. Once you accept it, it actually becomes the norm. Okay, I have really bad days. Sometimes I'm manic, sometimes I get depressed, but that's okay. It's all right to be like that. You can that's your norm. Sometimes as you get older, the amplitude slows down a bit. It's not crazy like this. It just starts to peel off and you become a little calmer. And ultimately, your quest, most people's quest should be for just humility, and just an understanding of just being calm. Well, how did we get onto that topic? You're very good at making people talk.
Oh, am I? How do you think the podcast go 4 hours, John? Well, maybe Barry was a unique circumstance, but that's how it usually works. I feel like when I have people on, my goal when I have the podcast, it's to let people express themselves, to share who they are as a person, share how they think, what their experiences are in life, let the audience get to know who the people are. So it's not really like I necessarily try to steer things a certain way if certain topics come up that I'm interested in talking about, which these are all very interesting topics to me because I look at my life the same way, very up and down. It's fucking chaotic. I'm here, there, all over the place kind of thing, which is why I really love poker because they kind of embrace that up and down of poker. That's kind of how it's always been. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. And I'm happy that there might be some calmness down the road at some point in time in my life. So I'm happy to hear that because for sure. No,
there will. Yeah, there will be. There, for sure, there will be. It just happens. It just, it does come. I think most, it's, it's, I don't know. There's no secret answer. I think everybody creates their own understanding and their own. People get to where they have to be at certain times in life, and you learn from it all, hopefully. And recover and just get on with it.
DMT Matrix says, lies, my podcast is clearly to show off my style. I thought about that a little bit. Maybe I sometimes I come on here. I used to wear a lot of tank tops. Now I'm switching it up. I don't know. I'd wear a tank top every time, to be honest with you. But I feel like when you have some of the, you have some guy, people that are older on in the industry, you got to sometimes wear a shirt. So I like to wear a shirt. We got John on here. John, 60-year-old man. I'm gonna wear a shirt. John comes on here, but next time he comes on, I'm probably gonna wear a tank top, because then we get to know each other a little bit.
I want one of those GTO tank tops.
You do? You want one? Are you gonna wear a GTO as a way of life tank top?
Yeah, give me one in Vegas. If you go to Vegas, I'd like to wear one.
I live in Vegas. I live on the Strip, so I will give you. I'll go to the Rio, which is 10 minutes away. I'll give one to you.
No wonder you're fucking that crazy if you live in Vegas. Bloody hell.
Nah,
that's a really difficult place to stay like this, Joey.
Well, I've only lived here since last summer, and when I came here for last summer, my life was just up there. So, but since then, I've been more calm. I sort of embrace Vegas for the energy it has here, the people here, and the opportunity to see people when they come to town. And a lot of friends live here too, and a lot of companies work here as well. And just a good place for meetings and to meet people when they come here. So I'm staying away.
Where do you live? Panorama.
I live down the street, not in Panorama. No, I live at a place called Sky.
Okay.
Yeah, it's down the road. I mean, very
Yeah.
similar kind of set up with with all that kind of stuff. So just down a little bit farther away. So I'm not sure. I might like living. I don't know. I like living wherever I lived. So wouldn't
Yeah,
matter.
to me it'd be enough. But I think when I was 30, I think I'd have loved it. I'm sure it's great fun.
Yeah, it's something, man. Let's take some questions from the chat. Physics says, can John give us insight into Party's plans for the future?
Yeah, I can. What party? The online site or Party Poker Live? Well, actually, I can do both. Look, we've got this kind of 5-year plan that we want to, we want Millions or Party Poker Live and Millions Tour to become the biggest tour in the world. It's a simple plan, and I think we're making pretty good progress. As far as Party, the site, they just want to look. It's full of people now who are trying to make the software better. The software has been bad, in the past. It's not. Everybody knows it's good. We know, even when in last year in January when I said, look, well, what's going to happen to the software? And there's a plan there's really good plans in place to improve it all the time. We've got a whole Skype group set up with Jason Coons, Patrick Leonard, Ike Haxon. Ike's going to really help the guys focus on bots and AI and stuff like that. The only people, it's really significant that I think, well, where did I read the other day? Oh yeah, at WSOP.com, right? They've stopped. You can't get hand histories anymore on
like
WSOP.com.
I haven't looked into that quite yet.
Somewhere from some guy, and what he was saying was right. Is that the thing is the best people to police without hand histories being publicly available, you would never have Ultimate Bet would never have been discovered. You know what I mean? You would never. People would have been stealing from players for years and years and years and years and years. Who knows if it would have ever been discovered? So you have to have these genius kids who are able to analyze data and do these scatter charts and work out, work out when somebody's cheating and work out. And so anyway, we've got people on board who are going to try to help. Or make sure that we have a level playing field there. Everybody who's coming on board is trying to make the site better. We've already, I don't know if you've seen it recently, but it's gone through a major overhaul already. It's got new lobbies, it's got the new tables shape, everything, new note-taking facility, all these sort of things. And it's going to go, that'll go to Mac in a few weeks, I think. I think the lobby's already changed on the Mac. But all these things are constantly going to be upgraded over the coming months and for the site. So the site will hopefully just get better and better and better. It has to be. We've got this sort of 20 million guaranteed tournament, Millions online in November, and that's just frightening. The idea that software shouldn't be up to date by then. But those are the plans, and that's really what we want. That's really what we want to achieve. If we do it, great. If we don't, it's not the end of the world. But I just think we're, if in your heart you feel you really want to do something, you're trying to do it, and you want people to achieve it, then everybody buys in. People buy into that, and I think the first people to buy into it are your employees, and then the attitude has changed dramatically in that company. Everybody's really on board now. They really want it to be. Party were the #1 site at one point. Before they had to pull out of America. And like Barry said, the reason they pulled out of America was because they were a publicly listed company, and a lot of the directors were on boards of US companies, and so they had to pull out. So if they hadn't pulled out, they'd probably still be huge. But the big edge that Stars had, of course, is that Isai was not only was an Isai a wonderful person who loved the game and actually really liked poker players, and Mark as well, but Isai was a programmer. He wrote code for the Star software, and not only was he a programmer. He was my understanding, was an absolutely exceptional programmer. You know, he helped create this thing called Unicode, which meant that computers could talk to each other. You know, years and years and years ago. So they had you know, they've always had a huge edge. So Party have got to really step up to the plate when it comes to the quality and the reliability and the integrity of their software. And you know, there's a lot of, you know, it's really important, you know. And actually, funny enough, I come to that point. Dominic, you know, I watched that Dominic Nietzsche podcast you did. I think some of Dominic's accusations were really pretty below the belt regarding what, you know, putting players. You know, I don't know if you remember it, but he was making some pretty.
Well, I'll actually, I have it on my list, so I will definitely mention that. So I have it on the list, John. I have it on the list here. So one thing that he mentioned, and by the way, this is something I've heard from other people too. This isn't something I've just heard from Dominic. He mentioned about how allegedly PartyPoker, or I think it's PartyPoker, they're putting in players to meet overlay. They're putting in employees, and I don't know if this is just live events or this is live and online, but this is what he talked about. And I've also heard kind of some similar things like that from other people as well too. So yeah, I guess what's kind of the response to that?
Look, what happens? It's very simple. What happens? I don't know about online, and I don't think anybody would know whether they put. You know, look, sponsored pros. Of course, you're gonna put people in. You're perfectly entitled to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. This is, you know, online and live, for instance. You know, sponsored pros should be playing the live events. If they're not playing live events, then there's something wrong, because they need to be interacting with the customers. The process, what happens if in a live event, right, if it looks like a guarantee is under threat. Let's say, take the 10K high roller in Barcelona, which was probably the only one really that looked under threat, and actually the only one which ended up with a slight overlay. Okay, we look at it and we go, okay, look, we need to start making some phone calls here. So we'll start to ring people up, and we'll start to encourage, say, look, guys, there's an overlay here. You know, come and support us, get your players here, great value, blah, blah, blah. Whether that's staking, people who stake other people, you know, sometimes you can do it directly by contacting people who stake other people and get the, you know, but whatever, we try to get people in. The idea, okay, I played that event, but I was always going to play that event, you know, the 10K super high roller. I don't think I had ever seen a member of staff be put in a PartyPoker live event, right? I can't think of a member of staff that he put. Okay, Tom Waters plays fine. He wants to interact with customers, but he would play. There were events he played in Punta Cana which he was going to play anyway. He likes to play poker. He wants to play poker, and he wants to interact with people. That's just him. I honestly can't think. In fact, I remember actually after Dominic's broadcast, I actually went around and I said, look, in Punta Cana, in the events that were threatening to look like they were overlay, were any staff members put in? And I got an adamant no. I said, are you sure? I said, did so-and-so play? Did so-and-so play? No, they didn't. There's no problem with putting in sponsored pros. Maybe they'll put in some pros that they would probably normally only put in a 1K event. Maybe they'll suddenly put them into a 5K event. What's the big deal with that? They're pro players. There's no big deal there. I have no issue with it. If they were to go down the street and just get somebody and put them in, yeah, then it would be a bit odd, you know. But anyway, that would still be dead money. It makes no difference. It's kind of a look. If we take these risks of putting these guarantees on, we know we're taking risks, but most of the time it's just persuading other people, other players. It's just really, it's like a 3-line. I don't know if you know what a 3-line whip is. In the British government, the 3-line whip is when if you need to get a vote through, then somebody will ring up. They've got these people called whips who will ring up all the members of parliament to make sure they're in the lobby to vote for a certain bill to go through. So it's a little bit like a 3-line whip, really. So everybody will get on the phone and start ringing people up. But there's no, anyway, but it's not, anyway, it's no, for me, it's no big deal anyway. There were no staff members involved. I'd love to, if he feels there were staff members, I'd love him to actually give me their names, because I don't think I'd like. I don't think I would personally like. No, I wouldn't like it if there were people being put in the events who just didn't stand. You know, who were members of staff. I wouldn't like that. I don't think I'd like it. I know I wouldn't.
Well, I know that Dominic will be watching this, so I do encourage him. I'll just put you two in touch. I mean, I'll make it easy because I've talked to both of you guys. So
I spoke to him in Barcelona about it because I was quite angry about what he was saying. He was making accusations about us. Now I know he's an 888 pro, but he was making accusations, and then he made accusations about the site going down on a Sunday when there were overlays. This is just that's just. I think everybody knows that's an absurdity. No site would ever damage themselves by doing something like that. That would be insane. Nobody would do that. You know, it's a really unfair and crazy accusation, and it just wouldn't happen. You know, we would just pay the overlay. There's no problem. You've got to understand that we know that on some of these tournaments we're going to overlay. We know we're going to overlay, and it's like a marketing budget in a way. Instead of giving you know, Usain Bolt and people like that millions and millions of dollars, it's money that can potentially go back to the players. No one's going to pull a plug. No one's going to pull a plug on. People love these conspiracy theories, but nobody's going to pull a plug at PartyPoker on any tournament. Can you imagine the damage that causes your whole product when you go offline? It just doesn't. It's absurd, you know, that people even intimate that that's the case. I think he may have been right in the payout policy. I don't know. There may have been delays in the payout process. I don't know about that. Maybe there were issues there, but maybe that could have been dealt with better. I don't know. But nobody's doing anything scurrilous. Believe you me, we're trying to make this place better, you know, not worse.
Well, if anyone out there's watching, they have some. What is this echo? Go away, echo. Go away. I'm like trying to hit the echo away with my hand. But if anyone out there's watching this and they have any sort of concerns or questions, feel free to get in touch with me or get in touch with John. I will definitely do my research on things too, because you know I do want to support a company out there that's for the players, that's doing good work too. And, you know, with the current ecosystem out there with America's Card Room and the cheating on America's Card Room, Winning Poker Network, they don't actually have a security task force there. And then with Pokerstars doing who fuck knows what it's doing, you know, I'm led to believe that PartyPoker is trying to do things for the players. They do want to provide a fair ecosystem where players can compete in, and they don't have to worry about competing against bots, and they don't have to worry about competing against people or conditions that are out of line. And yeah, you know, I've definitely heard some things about potential bots happening on the site. And this is another issue I've heard in terms of this area as well too. So it does seem that PartyPoker is willing to discuss these issues and doesn't want these things to exist if they are existing, which I think is refreshing to see in a poker site.
No, we don't. No, look, the reality is, Joe, of course we don't. Nobody wants bots on the site. Nobody wants AI on the site. And we're doing, you know, we're doing everything we can to make it much, much better. And that's why Jason and I can, because they haven't just come, they came on board late because they wanted to make sure that what we were doing was right and proper. Okay. And now they want to help. And the Ike can help a great deal because he's a clever guy. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he knows his stuff when it comes to, and he'll point us in the right direction when it comes to experts in AI and spotting AI and do, you know, all this sort of stuff that I don't know about. I haven't got a clue about it, but I know, you know, as long as we reach out to the people that can help us to kick out, you know, bots and AI and any cheating at all. It's just, you know, I don't want, you know, I'd like to ban cheats from all the PP live events if we can prove that they've been caught cheating at any time in the past. I'd like to have them, you know, just a register, like a blacklist, like a casino blacklist. There are people, you know, there are some people I would really like to who I don't want to see at my events, you know, or our events, should I say. I don't want to see them there. I don't want to see people that are scammers, you know, who borrow money with no intention of paying it back. I don't want to see people like that there. There are people like that in the poker world. We know they exist, and some of them are characters, and some of them are, you know, entertaining and stuff like that. But I just don't want them. I don't want them around the events. I don't want the potential for people to be, scammed or robbed. And it's happened to, it's happened to you. I'm sure it's happened to me. I mean, oddly enough, most of my bad debts are all in the US. Most of them are in Vegas. It's just, there seems some culture sometimes where people, if you borrow money off somebody with no intention of paying it back, that's theft, And I hate that shit. It really is one thing that really drives me mad.
Sounds like you've got some. You're speaking from some deep personal experience in this situation.
Yeah, I've got a lot. I've got a book. We've all got books, but I've got to let it. You got to let it go eventually.
Yeah, I've definitely learned my lesson early in my poker career, staking a guy for 10 cents, 25 cents on PokerStars, and then he's from Brazil and he took my money. So that was that was it. I was like, all right, I'm done. I learned cheap. I'm done. I'm not doing this shit no more. So
I'm going to tell you a better story, Joe. Right? I'm not going to mention name because it's unfair on the individual. Okay, but I was playing at the Bellagio once, and I won a really big pot. It was probably the biggest pot I've ever won. It was like 100K or something. And I went out to the bar to have a cigarette, and there was a guy there from. There's a guy there sitting on the stool, looking really dejected, who I know really well. And I said to him, what's the matter? What's the matter? I nearly said his name then. I said, what's the matter? And he went, oh, I've just done all my money on the, I've just done, I'm not sure I can even get home. And I said, look, I'll tell you what, there's a 1500K tournament on tomorrow at the Rio. Here's 1500. Go play in that and just play your heart out and just, they just keep out of trouble. Anyway, he goes and plays it, and he won a bracelet. He won the event, weirdly, and he won like $180,000. And I had to chase him to get back the $1,500. He never even, we never did a deal. I never said, look, this is a 50-50 deal or anything like that. I to chase the guy for dollars. Now, I could never do that as a person. Okay, I kind of laugh at it now, and I think, well, that's who that guy is. It's just the way it is. But there are some strange people in this world. You have to be very careful.
And his name is who?
I can't tell his name. I'm not gonna,
yeah, I would tell who he is, man. Fuck that. That's crazy. He didn't pay.
What's it called when you guys have got a name for it? Is it like
niche?
I don't know. Niche.
Snitch. Well, no, snitch. I mean, this is people will argue potentially protecting future people.
Huh?
I think people would argue you're potentially protecting future people who might interact with this person or deal with money with this person, kind of thing like that.
Well, I think he's dead now.
Oh, well, okay. I mean, that's out of line. That doesn't sound good for him.
Yeah. No, I just said that. I know he's not dead.
Oh, well, let's get some questions from the chat out there, guys. What do you guys have? Let's take a couple in here. And you have any shout outs you want to give, John? You want to give a shout out to somebody?
I don't know who's watching. I don't know who's watching. I've no idea who's watching.
Well, I know David Bazoff's watching right now. Shout out to David Bazoff. I know he's out there watching right now.
Yeah, shout out to who? Yeah, Eric Holreiser. Hi, Eric. He'll definitely be watching.
What's up with this massage thing? You and Eric Holreiser had a little back and forth. You had led. I love how, and you know what? This is how I know that Stars is willing to respond to things. Because if something was wrong about things I've said on Twitter, or if I've said in YouTube videos, or I've said to people, they would reply back. Because when you made an allegation, talked about their massage people, they're taking money from the massage thing, they responded instantly to that. So I'm like, okay, well, if something's wrong, they're going to say it. And the things that I say, no one's arguing with it. No one from Stars is arguing with any of these things I'm saying, anything like that. So I'm led to believe that they agree with me, and they say, yeah, it's fucking true. Good point. So what's up with this massage thing? Is that a fact? Is that fake news, or is that a true thing?
No, it's true. Look, it's a true thing. Look, it's a very simple thing. I don't know why. Look, I have lots of massages. When I'm playing, I have a load of massages. And for the first 5 years of the EPT, there was a lovely girl called Suki. I think she still has a contract with it. I don't know. And I used to think it was a service. Okay, fine. She comes. She wants to travel to all the events. She's spending the money. She's providing service. She keeps all the money. It never even occurred to me to actually take a percentage of her money. I never even thought about it. And then suddenly, and the rate was like €1. I don't know, €1 a minute. right? And suddenly you hear that the rate's gone up to €2 a minute because they're having to pay a cut to the EPT, and you think, why that's a vertical, another vertical. Why on earth do you want to take money? Why do the players have to pay more money to have a massage? I have less massage. If it's €2 a minute, then then it's just too much, But having said that, when we were in Barcelona, I went to Barcelona, and suddenly I realised the girls there were charging €2 a minute, and I kicked off because it was okay. The casino's rate is always that, but the thing is, we don't want to ever take a kickback from the Seuses. And then Eric sort of came back and said, "Oh, these decisions were made when you were there. You knew all about." Look, if I heard about that when it was happening, I would have said you can't do that, So it's not strictly fair. Yeah, it may have been in the decision may have been made to do that when I was there, but it was certainly not my decision, and I wouldn't have liked it had I known about it.
Damn, they're raking the poor massage girls. I mean, my God, they're raking the massage.
Look, it just it just seems crazy. It's just crazy to me. It's wrong. The thing is, what happens is when you get bean counters and marketing men, all they're looking at is revenue streams. All you look at is revenue. How can we make money? How can we make money out of this? How can we make? Let's make money out of the hotels. Okay, let's take 10% of the hotels. If people book hotels through us, we can take 10%. If people have a massage at our events, we can take whatever. I thought it was 50%, but Eric says nothing like that, and he never came back with a figure. How can we? We make money from food and beverage. No, you make money from the fucking poker tournament. That's what you make money from. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Maybe I'm being a bit silly about the hotels. I can kind of understand that as a possible revenue stream. I don't know, but instead of taking that 10%, give it back to the player. You know what I mean? I see us as a traveling group of poker players, right? Mm-hmm. And we just happen to, if people come to our tournament, and if we can get discounts at a hotel for players, that should get passed on to the players. If you see what I mean, don't start charging more. Don't start charging regular room rate, knowing that you're taking 10% of the money, and that's going in your pocket. It's not going to the player. So rather than do that, try to get a better deal for the players who are loyal to you, and then it's altogether something different. Maybe I'm not a very good businessman. I don't know.
Echo again. Go away, Echo. I'm trying to smack this echo into the other room. It won't go away. Nope, not leaving.
Is it just when is everybody hearing it?
I think so, yeah. But it's gone away now. But yeah, I agree. I think you might be a bad businessman. That's what the business professionals would argue.
No, I'm not. I've never claimed to be a very good businessman. What I'm trying to do is move this camera away from my computer. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, look at that.
I'm going to see if that works.
I'll let him do his thing over there.
I've got like a little stand for it here. Okay, so we get it'll be a different angle, but I would just wonder if that's causing.
We'll see.
Is it still there?
It's good for right now.
Okay, maybe it's because it was hanging. Anyway, it's a slightly different angle. So anyway,
Roman Harold in the chat says John is the best. Awesome guy. Say hi from Roman. Ask him about his alcoholic drinking last night.
My what?
Ask John about his last night drinking alcohol.
Oh God. Who's that? I don't know that guy, but he must know the story.
Roman Harold's his name.
Okay. My last drink I had was in bloody hell, it's a long time ago now. It was on the 5th of October 1985. Right. That's a long time ago.
Wait, yeah. 1985, that's the year I was born.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. It's nearly 33 years. So
Jesus.
And I went out for a quiet drink on the King's Road in London. And this is towards the end of my 5-year party plan. And anyway, I went out for a quiet drink, and I woke up 5 days later in a shopping center in Dusseldorf in Germany with an airline ticket, and it had traveling at own risk, no passport on it. And every single drug addict and street alcoholic in Dusseldorf knew me by my first name. They were all going, "Hey, Johnny, Johnny, Johnny." And I had no idea how I'd got there. I'd had this complete 5-day blackout, right? And not only that, I was also meant to be giving my sister away at her wedding the weekend. I think it was on a Thursday I came around, and on the Saturday I was meant to be giving her away at her wedding. And I was fucked. Luckily, this airline ticket was a return ticket. But I had no idea how I got there. Eventually I discovered how I got there, but it was I was having an affair with the Brazilian ambassador to Bogota, to Colombia, wife, and she had this diplomatic passport, so she could take anybody anywhere, right? Anyway, she took me to Germany, and then she said later, she said I was so badly behaved, she just kicked me out of her house, and that was how that all happened. It was very, very weird. There were weird times. I had an interesting 5 years, those 5 years, what I can remember of them. But anyway, I stopped. That was when I stopped drinking. I stopped drinking on the 6th of October, 1985, long time ago.
That's some out of line shit right there, buddy.
Huh?
That is some OOL, very out of line shit right there.
Well, you know, look, it's human. It's a human condition, isn't it? I mean, it happens. You know, a lot of people get that stuff.
Were you staying in that little downtown area Dusseldorf has, where like it's like some big circle thing in the middle, and I don't know, you can drive. Was it still there? Was that how it was back in the day?
No, it wasn't there back in the day. But strangely enough, that's where we filmed that. Where the next time I went back to Dusseldorf was where we filmed that TV show I was telling you about in Paranoid, right? Because that was based in Dusseldorf and in the north of England. And so the next time I went back was to film this episode of Paranoid in Dusseldorf. It was really weird. My whole life came around in like one full circle. It's quite strange.
Yeah, I kind of like Dusseldorf. They had a little mall down there, and they got the little city center where you can walk around a bunch of different directions. So I kind of like the setup there that they have.
No, sorry, I was saying you're right. It's a really cool place. But I was down by that tower, exactly by that tower that you were talking about, and by the river,
right?
You know, by the river, and it's changed a lot. That you know, frankly, I don't even remember what it was like in 1985. I've got no idea. I've got no recollection.
You were passed out for 5 days. You don't remember how you, I imagine you don't remember much about what happened then.
No. Those are the good.
Into the windows is Poppy. Into the windows is Poppy. I think JD deserves the out of line T-shirt. Yes, he 100% deserves the out of line T-shirt. That is a confirmed fact.
I want a bad reg. I want a bad reg T-shirt as well.
With a bad reg T-shirt. Okay, I'll get you one. Hold on.
The whole shebang.
Let me go. Who Jenks says, I have 3 kids in Dusseldorf. They're all the same age, different mothers. I mean, I don't think there are that many women there. I gotta say, no shots at Dusseldorf or Dortmund or anything like that. But I think that might have been some of the least attractive women in one place I've ever seen in my life. That is what it is. Let me go find the question up here. That's a different story for another time. Where is this chat?
Has the echo gone, Joe?
The echo's gone, my friend. The echo's gone.
Must be that camera on top of the computer.
Where is that question about the ACR? Diego Casca says RSA security on Party Online will be there. Yeah, will there be an RSA token on PartyPoker?
I don't know. I'll have to find out. Actually, I should have a piece of paper actually making lists of things that people ask that I don't know the answer to. But there is 2FA. There is 2-factor authorization at the moment, so you can get that. But as for the RSA tokens, I don't know. Maybe some point in the future. Mm-hmm. But I don't know the answer myself, I'm afraid.
So this event later in the year, it's in November, I believe. It's in the Caribbean too. This has always been an event, right? But it seems like the guarantee is very high this year. You have like a big buy-in event that is sort of similar to that part Pokerstars 25K they're doing. Is something, did I read that right, or what's sort of the plan with that November event?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Caribbean Poker Party has been around for ages with Party, and they, last year it was in Punta Cana, and it was really, really, really good fun. I really enjoyed it. I mean, the party, the beach party at night was the best poker party I've ever been to, I think. You don't often see me dancing. It's very difficult when you're stone cold sober to actually enjoy a party, but I stayed there for like hours. I had such a good time. And the whole resort was really good. Anyway, Punta Cana was one thing. So that was really good. But then last year on my way to the World Series, the guy who used to run the Wynn in Vegas called me up, and he was running this new casino called the hotel resort casino called the Baha Mar, and they'd gone through problems. They'd started developing it years and years ago, and then it ran out of money or something, and then it got mothballed for a couple of years. There are all sorts of it was about construction and unions in Bahamas, and then they got a huge influx of money, and they managed to finish the project. And so he said, come over, come and see. You've got to come and see it. So I went over there, I had a look at it, and it was, firstly, it's designed by the same guy who designed the Wynn, the interior of the Wynn. Mm-hmm. So it's really kind of weird. You walk in there, you walk into the casino, and it's like the Wynn. And then you've got these, you've got these three separate sort of hotel groups, huge number of rooms, amazing pools right on the beach. It's just a ridiculously new, wonderful resort. So he was saying, look, come on, bring an event here. And so we spoke about it, and we decided that it would be a brilliant place to have, a new festival. So we're going to go there. We're going to go there in November. We've got the usual tournaments, but we've also added on this new tournament called Millions World, which is a 25K buy-in tournament with a 10 million guarantee, which is pretty ambitious in itself. So we're going to, hopefully, you kind of hope that probably 50% of the field will be qualifiers, online qualifiers. And it should, touch wood, it should be a really, really good event.
Yeah, I'm looking at this place now. I've never heard of this place before. Baha Mar, is that what it's called?
No. Are you looking at it online?
Yeah, I'm looking at it online. Yeah, I've never heard of it before, so I just wanted to see what it looked like.
No, nobody's heard of it because it's brand new. It's amazing.
It looks sick. It looks really sick. Yeah, it looks really nice.
It is.
Who's the person that what's the person's name?
It's called Alex Pariente. You know him?
Yeah, I don't think did John freeze? I think John froze. They shut him down. Pokerstar shut him down. He was gonna tell a secret out there, I think. We'll see if he comes back and connects here. Who we got in chat, man? James Grimaldi. Grimstar's going crazy with the comments right now. Shout out to Grimstar out there, man. Anthony Colavita, what up, buddy? What's happening, Poppy? What's going on, brother? Oh, you back, John? You back?
What happened then? I was just about to say the guy's name, and it went off.
I think someone shut you down. I don't know what happened. You got shut down.
No, I'm still back on. I'm back on now. You can see me and hear me, can't you?
Yeah, you're good. You're back on. Yeah.
I have no idea what happened there, but weird. But no. Look, it's a great resort. I think you'll try, and if you're going to go to any event, come to that one. I mean, it's going to be.
I'll go. I'm going to go to that event. I'm in. I'm going. I'm in.
Yeah. It'll be really, really good fun. And there's always a lot of good PLO cash action, by the way.
Great game.
At all, the cash games in Barcelona were amazing. They had like 56 games running around the clock, going right up to sort of 5,100 PLO. It was there was some really, really tasty games there.
I can imagine. I heard there's the Barcelona shuffle in some of those higher stakes games with the local Spanish regs in the floor. So I don't know. I'm always hesitant about about some of those things like that. But yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anything too crazy.
I know, I get you. I know, I understand. You have to be. Look, the same happens in Vegas, doesn't it? I mean, you get shoved up lists in Vegas if you tip the floor staff. It's not, they're always these issues. It's really difficult to iron these out, but they need ironing out, because there should never be any preferential treatment in card rooms. A list is a list. It's not there to be abused. You can't, I've seen things happen at the Bellagio, sometimes which you just think are crazy. And I'm afraid I'm guilty of it myself once, when there was a huge list, but I wasn't bum hunting. I just wanted a game. You know what I mean? I just wanted to play, and there was a really long list, and I remember tipping the guy $100. And sure enough, you find yourself in the game much quicker than you would normally. It's just the way Vegas works, I suppose. But I don't agree with it. And I don't think I'd do it now. I think I'd just wait. I'd wait my time.
Marco Nebesny in the chat says, why do they use all of the same places as Pokerstars, and it's the same field and nothing new? Just high rollers, 80% of tournaments. Do they plan something for amateurs, in parentheses, amateurs? Yeah,
there's lots of the trouble with the European poker circuit. There are only so many venues which are large enough to be able to contain, to cope with a large poker tournament. If you've got 1,500 players arriving at a venue, you need 100 to 120 tables. There are only so many places. I know it must sometimes seem like we're piggybacking on stars, but not really. I mean, obviously these are casinos that I personally had relationships with already anyway, so it made sense to go back to some of them, not all of them. But I think I'm trying to choose the ones which are most popular with the players, with the exception of probably Monte Carlo, because I think some people like Monte Carlo, some people hate Monte Carlo. They don't. We're still up in the air about Monte Carlo. Really. I suspect we probably won't go there, because I'm not really mad about it myself. But I shouldn't really be saying that live on air. But I don't really. I'm not sure it's a place for poker players. I'm not sure. They kind of look down on poker players a little bit. Maybe for a really high stakes festival, it's probably a good place, but not for a regular millions stop. But I might change my mind on that. I don't know, but at the moment, I'm not mad about it. But we are looking at whoever asked that question. I can't say where, but we are looking at somewhere that stars have never been before, which people will definitely love.
Let's play a guessing game.
Don't play a guessing game, because we haven't signed a deal yet, and it's really difficult place to get into, and legislatively, it's quite hard to get into and to play there. So
God, I think I might have a guess.
Oh yeah. Well,
I won't. John, I like talking to you, kid. I think I can ask you anything and you'll give me an answer. I'm serious. Like, there's some people that scare me though, and like Jungle Man's like that. I can ask him anything, he'll answer it. So I got to be careful what I ask him sometimes. But I feel like I can ask you anything. You're gonna give me an answer. I don't know. It's kind of fun.
Well, within reason. I mean, there are some. I'm not. I'm very much. I like to think of myself as an open book. I'm not really. Secrets aren't brilliant. The only reason I can't tell you, or I don't want to tell you, is I don't want to jeopardize the deal. I don't want to jeopardize.
For sure. I wouldn't either.
So I think if it was signed and sealed, I'd just literally say it right now before it had even been marketed. But because then people would just shout at me, and say, well, why are you telling me before we've spent all this money on marketing? But I'm not going to even let you know where it is. But it's
Iceland.
No, not Iceland. No,
okay.
Iceland. That's not a bad idea. Iceland. I don't think that many people would go to Iceland. But you could. You won't. I don't think you'll get it. But anyway, it's going to be great.
You're going to South Sudan, Africa.
No.
Okay. Well,
I would like. It's funny enough. I'd quite like to. I always wanted to take the EPT to Marrakesh. I always liked the idea of having a tournament in Marrakesh, but because it's such a lovely place. But there was. I remember everybody used to say, "Oh no, there's no broadband reach there. There's no market there. There's nothing there." But sometimes you have to look at a bigger picture and say, "Well, actually, maybe we should just have tournaments where the players want to go." Okay, so there's no market there. Should we worry about that? Yeah, probably, maybe. I don't know. I know that it's always a very difficult one to actually persuade people to go, or persuade the companies to go somewhere where there's little market, for instance. But I sometimes think slightly differently. I think that if players want to go somewhere new, and players say, well, why don't we go to Cape Town? Why don't we try and have a tournament in Cape Town, or why don't we go to the Canary Islands? It's I think it's not a bad thing to go sometimes, occasionally go to places where it's not in the business interest to go, but because players want to go there and because it'll be a good place to hang out.
People are saying, what about echoes back? Go back away, echo. It's going away.
How can it be back again? The camera's miles away from
it. It comes back. It's got a mind of its own. Fred says, what about a perpetual tournament on a boat? And people say a high roller cruise, a boat tourney. What about can we do a tournament on a boat? But you have like you find a service where you get 200 women to join the boat too, though. So it's a ship full of poker players and a poker tournament running, and then cash games potentially, and then a bunch of other women that are on there to enjoy the weather, to enjoy the scene, to take it in.
Well, kind of like a mixture women, or do you mean hookers? You mean women, or do you mean hookers?
No, actual women. Not no. This isn't. They do this in LA. It's something I learned about in LA, and it seemed like a very GTO thing to do.
We've actually spoken about doing a cruise, already in the past, and it's something that is always it's always going to be up there as a possibility, because what's great about doing a cruise is that you 100% run it yourself. You've got no, you're not partnering with a land-based casino. You're actually running it yourself, and you're outside of legislative territory, blah blah blah. And also players do love it. So we will never ever write off probably doing a cruise. In fact, somebody came up with an idea the other day, actually, where you have a high stakes tournament on a big yacht, on a super yacht or something like that, where people can qualify online, and everybody has to wear black tie, like everybody wears a suit, like James Bond. And it's a weird concept, but maybe that's a bit far fetched. But the thing is, boats are fun. The PartyPoker used to have a very successful cruise. In fact, the very first WPT was on the PartyPoker million cruise years back. I might be wrong. I think it was. I think Kathy Liebert won it.
Dude, shout out to Kathy Liebert, man. My God.
Yeah, Kathy.
I'm gonna look this up. I don't recall any cruise ship. Oh, I think Kathy Liebert, card player cruises, partypoker.com. Yeah, $1 million. Mike Sexton in the photo. Shout out to Mike Sexton, man.
What year was that?
It looks like 2002. Yeah, 2002.
How old were you then?
I was definitely in high school still. I was what, like 16, 15, something like that.
You probably hadn't even started playing cards by then.
I was playing cards with my old boss Troy. He used to have a game. Him, Uncle Freddie, and maybe one of my friend Adam or something like that. We used to get together, and he would beat me up in poker, and I didn't know what I was doing. So, shout
out to Troy and Uncle Freddie. I'm learning about this podcasting stuff now.
Yeah, I think they're very out of line. Troy's 100% out of line, and Uncle Freddie is a typical Southern Southern American person who has the accent and talks like this. And when he goes, I mean, I don't know, he's but yeah, he's.
I love that. I love that accent. I love the Southern drawl.
Oh yeah, me too, man.
It's great.
All right, let's get a couple more questions from you guys, chat, and then we'll wrap it up here. We've been keeping everybody long enough out here. John, what you got planned? When are you going to Montreal? Okay, when are you headed out there, man?
I'm going on Thursday. I fly out on Thursday, and I'll be there for a week.
Are you coming to the series as well too?
Oh yeah. I'm going to come out on the 30th of May, stay a couple of weeks, and then come back again, and then probably come back for the main event. I can't do that whole 7-week stretch anymore. It kind of does my head in. Mm-hmm. So what I kind of come back out again, because there's a good 3 weeks in between. As much. The difficulty is when you look at the schedule, it's always really hard. You go out on the 30th of May, and then you think, oh, maybe I could stay another 2 days for that, and maybe, well, hold on, that's quite good too. What about this millionaire maker thing? I could win $1 million. Then suddenly you have to be so strict with yourself. So I'm going to come back after a couple of weeks, and then we're back, back up with the millions, and we've got Sochi pretty much, straight after that, millions in Sochi. And then Baha Mar, we've got DTD straight. We've got lots and lots of stuff going on, this year. So it's going to be a busy year. But when I'm in Vegas, I'm a player. I just like to play.
Is Party Poker doing anything for the main event out here? Any sort of like party or things like that? Do you have anything like that planned?
No, not at all. No, nothing. I think it was.
Why not, man? Come on, man. No, y'all need one. Y'all need a party out here, John. Please, y'all need a party out here.
Look, I think it was kind of frowned on last year because 888 pay a lot of money for the sponsorship. I think they, it's like they were. I think there was a card room. I can't remember what it was called. Might have been America's card. Oh no, it was. I can't remember, but there was some America card room was running WSOP seats, and I saw some tweet from WSOP saying we are not affiliated with this site whatsoever.
Yeah.
But you have to be a bit careful. I mean, it's a bit, you can't try to sabotage, not sabotage, but jump on a bandwagon if somebody went, we did it last year. We had a party, which was fun, but that's not to say that we won't be in Vegas again at some point. Hopefully quite soon.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
I just want to go to the party personally. I mean, that's kind of where I'm coming from with this standpoint. So I'm trying
Did you go last year?
I think they went to I think it was like.
No, it was at Excess. It was great.
Yeah, it was at Excess, right? Yeah, I remember I talked to him when I was there. Yeah.
Did you
I think I might have went. No, I think I actually went to that. I think I might have went too. I can't remember.
No, I know where you will have been because it was on the same night as that. What's that training site that Doug? No.
The Upswing Poker Party. You're right. Yeah.
It was the same night as Upswing Poker, so you probably went to that one.
Yeah, I was definitely at the Upswing Party, and I was out of line of shit. So yeah, I was probably wearing this hat. So yeah, I was. Yeah. For sure.
That looked quite like that. Was that a Surrender?
That was at Surrender. It was at the beach club there. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, you could have done both. They're in the same property, aren't they? So you could have effectively done both parties. But
I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember much what happened that night. There's a small chance I think we might have gone to Excess after, but I can't. It all blends together here. So
yeah, that's the perils. You see, the perils of
It was a long summer, John. You know what happens. Last question here. Cody Holly says, any chance of Party Poker being allowed in all? Okay, it's a bad question. Never mind. It says, any chance of Party Poker being allowed in all U.S. states? That's far away from that ever happening. So yeah.
Look, it's not worth talking about that.
Yeah, that's not what we're talking about. That's
it's kind of, I just really, it's well, not all US states, but look, it's, we've got a New Jersey license. What we're going to do, Nevada, Delaware, California, if it comes out, I don't know. Look, it's one of those things, I think my own opinion on it, I think that the Wire Act should be completely rescinded, and they should have a federal law which people can opt out of rather than have to opt in. I think states should be able to, if you want to opt out of, just legalize the whole bloody thing across the whole of the states. Mm-hmm. And if people states want to opt out, they can opt out. That's fine. That's what I would do. I mean, it's it's your game. Poker is the American game. It's just crazy that you guys can't play online. It's just insane. You're driving people to Canada, to Mexico, to trying to break the law by using VPNs and stuff like that. It's really bad. It's just like prohibition. It's no different from prohibition. Just it won't work. People want to play, and they will play if they want to. Anyway.
Yeah.
But sadly not at the moment.
Harb says the way things are going, sports betting will be legal and online poker won't. It's crazy. Yes, that is a fact. I think sports betting is going to be legal here very soon.
Do you think so? Do you think that'll be right?
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna. It looks like they're. Yeah, it really looks like it's a big possibility.
Yeah, because I used to, Pinnacle and play, sites like that. I mean, they were huge back, not that long ago, and they were great places to bet on.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I don't know. It just seems very strange. It's very, very odd. But I've stopped trying to understand.
The
US of A. As I love it, but it's a little bit like women. I love women, but I've stopped trying to understand them.
I can't disagree with you on that one. I don't know if I'll ever understand women. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna keep trying, John, but it's gonna be tough. But you're married now, so you're telling me you don't understand you don't understand the wife quite yet, or what?
I'm joking. I've got no idea where she's at half the time. I've got no idea where she's coming from. I've known her since I was 22 years old. She still makes me laugh, but she's there's a very good quote from Far From the Madding Crowd. No, hold on. Is it Far From the Madding Crowd? Anyway, I think it was Gabriel Oak. He says, it's no man likes to see his emotions the sport of a merry-go-round of skittishness. Okay, and that's just that. I've always applied that to my wife and to many other women as well, and it's a very good quote. Thomas Hardy, Far From the Madding Crowd.
I'm gonna need to replay this part of the podcast and go through that quote about 10 more times for it to make sense to me, because I think there was not only some English specific slang in there, but also I just didn't understand what the hell you said. Repeat that one more time. Wait a second. One more time. Give it to me.
Okay. No man likes to see his emotions the sport of a merry-go-round of skittishness. In other words, no man likes their emotions to be messed around with by somebody who's just up and down and all over the place, never, just having, taking them for granted. That's what it means.
Damn, I love. I kind of like the chaos, so I'm okay with it for now. Take my emotions all over the goddamn roller coaster, man. I'm okay with it, John. I'm ready. Maybe when I get a little older, maybe I'll be tired of it. But for right now, I'm
not tired. I didn't say I was tired of it. I just said I'll never understand it. I love my wife to bits. She's adorable. She still makes me laugh, and she's crazy and probably the kindest person on the planet. And look, anybody who can put up with me for the length of time that we've been together, and having gone skint 3 times, lost the school fees once. We put money in a school fees fund and I lost it. Anyone who can stick around with me for that length of time, she's got to have a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
shout out to her. I'll agree with that. John, you want to give the people out there one last piece of parting advice as they venture on into their day, if they're watching this live right now?
Okay, the biggest, if you're for life or for a poker player, I think the biggest advice is just play within your means. Play within your means, manage your bankroll. the biggest mistakes I've ever made when I'm playing cards is to jump into is to build up my bankroll, especially online, is to build my bankroll up and then jump into a game which is too big for me, and then suddenly I'll blow it. I'll blow the whole lot in one day. So just just enjoy the game, but don't go crazy with your never risk more than I don't know, what is it, 5% of your bankroll? I don't know, something like that.
Guys, never risk more than 5% of your bankroll.
My life advice is just do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. Just be kind to others. That's all I would say.
I like that, guys. And just remember, only 5% here at the Poker Live podcast, we advocate you only gamble with 5% of your bankrolls. So yes, correct. I agree. I back that, John. 5% of your bankroll. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 5%. 5%. Okay. 5%, guys. All right. That's it, guys. I'll be back live again at least one more time this week. I don't know with who we're going to do it. Maybe with Jay Kuhn. I got to hit him up as well. Maybe I'm not sure. Any last words, John? You want to get the people out there?
No, but you can have a look at the dog barking.
Oh,
she's very sweet.
Hello.
Yeah, she's kind of cute. Welsh Terrier. Anyway, I'll see you, Jay. It's been fun.
All right, guys in the chat.
Come to the Bahamas.
I'm gonna be in the Bahamas for sure down there. I want to go to that one. That'll be fun.
All right, see you there. Well, I'll see you in Vegas before
I'll price you before that.
I want that GTO shirt. I want one of those shirts.
I got it on the list right here. GTO's Way Alive tank top, potentially out of line shirt, and a bad rag, potentially from Doug.
Perfect.
Cool.
All right. Well, great talking to you.
You too, brother. You too. Everybody in the chat, much love. See you guys later. That's all I got. Peace out.
Take it easy.